Been trying for about 5, 6 days now to get a good picture of the UK, and we're still working on it.
And Columbia, this is Houston again. We've lost the Euronet. We'll stand by for a couple minutes. And the British folks were asking you to wave to them. I'm not sure you copied that. And they'll take a wave anytime.
We have had a power loss at 8.
And Columbia, Houston, we're back with you for about 5 minutes before TDRS LOS, and we'll be talking next to you on UHF in the Columbia at IOS.
Okay, Brian. See you there.
Space Lab, this is Marshall Operations. That was a real good conference, you guys, and we have some messages, and we also our go for 102 FO3 operations, and we have the 102 team standing by, and we also have some messages from WUBO and the 33 team, if any of you guys are ready to copy.
Okay, Mike, stand by a sec. We're just about on the flight deck here. We've got to get the 105mm lens. We'll be with you in about 2 minutes, okay?
Real good, Byron. We copy.
And Space Lab, this is Marshall Ops for Bob and Ulf and Byron and Owen. Over.
Okay, Mike, we're back in here, and we're not quite ready to copy yet on the 33 stuff. In fact, let me get, I guess we got some operations coming up during our shift, right?
And Space Lab, Byron, you don't need to copy. You only need to listen for about 3 or 4 seconds. Over.
Hey, go ahead, Wilbur.
And I also would like that Bob and Ulf and Owen will hear this. Can you tell them?
I can tell them, yeah.
Are they listening, Byron?
I mean, they're not all on the they're not listening because they're not on the headsets. They're down in the mid-deck. Come back in here?
Well, I sure we have here a little present from the 33 science team, and I sure would like if they can hear it too. Over.
Okay, well... Stand by a sec, Wilbur. Coming. Okay, Wilbur, go ahead.
Okay, the science team of Experiment 33 is extremely content with the scientific material which has been collected. And they express their gratefulness by giving to you, the crew, the remaining pictures, which are about 140 to use for your own purpose and in your own interest. And please do that after day 7. Over.
Sounds good to me.
And also the Faust team would like to express their thanks for an excellent run. Their final run was a set of exposures during the shuttle glow, and all 47 pictures on the film have been used, and that means that all commands were correctly received by the Faust experiment because they got their signals from the end of the film.
You guys developed them already and published them, right?
Well, we do have a couple of AppJ letters that are going out this afternoon. We are now enabling the science monitoring area because the 102 team has some comments for the setup of TV-17 for the forthcoming dome run.
Byron in Space Lab, this is 102. Do you copy?
Loud and clear. Go ahead, Larry.
First, congratulations to all of you on a stellar performance. Now back to work. First, Byron, regarding TV for the dome, we received excellent results on the split screen from the redshift last night, and we would like you to perform exactly as you had on mission day 1. That is, begin with the split screen of the free floats for you and Owen, then go to the single view of the eyeball for the harnesses, and finally, if you have dome, you can do the other experiments with head movements in the option runs. Do you copy?
Okay, copy.
Next, we have one additional observation we would like each of you and Owen to make during the dome runs on the part of the operator. The operator should place himself in the mid-aisle facing the side of the dome. As the dome rotates, you will see the Velcro straps moving upward or downward depending upon the rotation sense. I would like you to observe any asymmetry between the feelings of vection for upward and downward movement of the stripes. And Byron, you might wish to place a finger lightly on your upper lid and see if there's any obvious asymmetry in upward and downward optokinetic nystagmus. Do you copy?
Roger, we copy, Larry.
Right. Now, since this is probably the last time the dome will run and the results really seem to be extraordinary, I'd like you to go through a final run of the other things I've been asking you all week, namely bungee strength and bungee influence. See how it compares with earlier in the mission. We're having very good data down here in the SMA, so we see what the joystick looks like, and feel free to use the dome option runs to explore your own scientific interests.
Okay.
Do you have any questions for us before beginning?
No, just take us a few more minutes here to get set up.
Very good. I'll leave you alone.
Marshal Ops, this is PS1.
Go ahead, Ulf.
Okay, Bill, how are you?
Fine, Ulf. That was a good press conference.
Okay, I'd like to talk to 300 system people, if possible.
Ulf, we only have you for about 18 seconds.
Oh, too bad.
You can relay a message if you like. They're listening.
And we'll see you on day 7 at 15 minutes, and TV 17 is connected to recorder number 2. And Space Lab, this is Marshall Ops. We have you for about 54 minutes through TDRS.
Okay, Bill, reach you loud and clear.
Okay, Byron, we do need a verification that the SWA outer cover is closed.
Verified.
Okay, we copy, and we have the 102 PI enabled, and he's standing by.
Okay, we've just finished the third run. So Owen's bungees.
Space Lab Byron, this is 102. Would you repeat the last transmission? Okay, Space Lab Byron, this is 102. I understood that you just completed the third dome run. Do you copy? Space Lab Byron, this is 102. Do you copy?
And Space Lab Marshall Ops Byron, I hate to keep pestering you about this. We need a verification that that SWA is locked.
Okay, it's locked. How do you read?
Yeah, we copy you now. We had a little temporary dropout. We may have a few of those for this pass.
It's closed. You also want to check to make sure it's locked?
That's affirmative.
Please stand by. Okay, it's in latch. Now, I presume that means, and it's also in, no, the camera's in lock, but the SWA is in latch. It doesn't happen to be labeled lock.
Okay, we copy, Owen. Thank you very much.
We copy.
Okay, 102, we've initiated the bungee run with Byron. And comments on my own last two runs, Larry, are there?
We copy, Owen. Go ahead.
Okay. The vection has been still, I would estimate, 40%, just like it has been forever. The principal difference between here and the ground is the counter rotation that occurs for a few seconds after the dome rotation stops. And you can see that, of course, with the joystick. As far as the no bungee run is concerned, there is the opportunity to sort of imagine self-rotation somewhat more easily than it was either on the first day or on the ground. Although the amount of saturation is still, I would say, almost identical to what it's always been.
Very good, Owen. Have you had an opportunity to stand in the middle aisle facing the rotating dome and look at your vertical sensations or vertical eye movements by feeling them?
No, I was not familiar with that request. Perhaps I missed it. Would you say it again?
All right, Owen. I passed up a detailed discussion with Byron that probably didn't get to you. We're interested in we have a lot of time available to us now, and I'll be discussing with you what we do to fill it. One of the things to do is when you are the dome operator, you can place yourself in the mid-aisle and face the dome so that as it rotates, the Velcro strips are moving either vertically upward or downward in your field. And then I'd like you to observe and comment to us on any asymmetry between feelings of vertical vection, if they should occur. And also, you might put your finger lightly on your upper lid and see if you detect any asymmetry between upbeating and downbeating nystagmus. Do you copy, Owen?
Copy all that, but we'll have to do that later, and I'll talk with Byron about it.
Yeah, Owen, we've been informed by EPS and CIC that there is a significant block of time being made available to 102 to extend our experiments during today, and I want to discuss with you the specific ones that we're planning and extending. But the immediate one will be extension of time on the dome experiments for of the order of 20 minutes to half an hour. So there's a lot of time to explore now.
Okay. An extension of the current run that we're in right now.
Right. You can. The things that we will do first on the dome runs are first to try to have you do the procedure that I just described. Stand and look at the dome from the side and tell me about any sensation of vertical motion that you get for the upward or downward stripe motion, and see what any eye movements feel like just feeling your lid. If it's easy, we'll ask you to go and obtain the ESA 30 Metilog recorder EOG electrodes, and then go and place that on to be able to get some records, which you'll annotate with your tape recorder of vertical eye movements facing the dome. Either you or Byron could do that.
Yeah, we have the 30 Metilog stuff here, but we'll wait till this dome run is complete and then get on with the setup for that other stuff.
Okay, can you tell us how the TV is looking on it?
The TV is looking fine. On the split screen, we're missing just, it comes right to one edge of the iris, and we only see a part of the bar beneath his eye, but we see the full iris, and I think you had no trouble with the analysis, and the focus is good.
That's fine. But is Byron wearing the contact lens now?
He's wearing his contact lens, and the circades are easily visible.
Yeah, when looking at the ones that were downlinked yesterday, it was clear that those contact lens marks were very visible, and even in the split screen, the analysis would be all right. The problem primarily seemed to be one of movement of the head relative to the TV camera, so that the fiducial marks tended to slip out of the field of view.
Staying pretty close.
Owen, let me chat with you about plans for the other 102 activities.
You can wait just here 30 seconds. Byron will be through. This is his last of the 6 sequence. That just finished his. Marshall on Space Lab for the 102 PI. Go ahead. Go ahead and tell us what you want us to do now.
Oh, okay. Byron and Owen, Michael can explain to you the fact that we've gotten some additional time, and we'll want you to use it in ways that you and we jointly think best to extend the science on these FOs.
Space Lab, this is Marshall Operations for Owen or Byron.
Good, Mike.
Yeah, hi. As you're probably aware, this metric camera deinstallation and removal and stowage isn't necessary now, since we have several more days in the mission and we still have some film left. And the rest of this pass, I thought we'd divide between this MSDR workaround. We want to get it started and back on schedule, and also allow Larry to work any additional 102 work or debriefing that he'd like to do with you. How do you guys feel about that?
As good as any.
Real good. We do have about 10 minutes of work at the MSDR, which we'd like you guys, one of you guys, to be able to do for us during this pass. But we don't want to glitch Larry's work either. So perhaps I'll leave it to Larry to pick a good 10-minute interval where I can talk steadily to one of you.
We finish the 102 and then get on to the MSDR.
Sounds like a good idea. How about we plan on finishing the 102 run before 1 o'clock? That is to say, sometime in the next 30 minutes, and then I'll commandeer one of you to get the MSDR up and running.
102.
Yeah, that sounds good, Michael. We're still looking for an alternative time to do the MSDR, but that one you mentioned still would work. Okay. Byron and Owen, are you both there? Right. This is an opportunity to go and fill in any pieces that we have missed or ideas that either you or we would like to explore on the dome. One of them, ones that I explained to you earlier, Byron, and just repeated to Owen, is the vertical vection, standing in the mid-aisle looking at the dome as it rotates. Now, one subject can be in the dome doing another dome run, which would help add to our free float data, and the other one of you looking at it from the side can make observations of the differences in vertical vection, upward and downward at the different speeds. Are you able to go along with that?
Larry, yeah, I did that while Owen was in the dome, and I didn't get any vection whatsoever. A little bit of nystagmus I could feel on my eyes, but the stripes, the Velcro stripes are spaced just too far apart to really get any vection.
Right, I copy. Do you have any tape available that you could use to increase the stripe spatial frequency?
Yeah, we can put some gray tape on it, I guess.
You'll have to be able to take it off to disassemble it, but short of that, I don't see any problem with that.
The gray tape will have enough contrast.
If the lighting is adequate, it should, Owen. And while one of you is doing that, the other could attach the ESA 30 recorder so we get some measurements of the vertical nystagmus.
Larry, Owen's taking a look at the dome right now before we put the tape on. I've got it running. One comment that I can make from my last runs was that I experienced almost no dropouts during any of the runs. The sensations were pretty much the same of 50 to 60% vection, and it was, whole body space lab motion. There was no paradoxical tilt, either free floating or with bungees.
Thank you. And once again, any major effect of summarizing major effect of bungees?
I don't see too much effect of bungees. It may reduce the sensation of vection just a little bit, but it's not a significantly big difference.
Byron, do you think at this point in the mission, looking back on it, that the tactile cues generated by bungees would be of any use in treating space adaptation syndrome?
Yeah, I do, Larry. I think it helped during the first day when I was kind of standing there quietly with, actually, the second day, mission day, flight day too. With Mil Reschke's experiment, that seemed to help alleviate for a while if you just stand there in one position and not feel like you're floating around.
Okay, that's very good. Owen's looking at the dome, I understand, and you're going to consider putting on the EOG electrodes for us?
Yeah, sure, I'll put on the EOG electrodes, Clark.
Byron, while you're doing that, you can let your brain work. You know about as much about the vestibular adaptation as the people down here in the SMA. You can have this opportunity to pursue ideas on your own that you might have thought of, either discuss them with us or go ahead during LOS.
Okay, and I'll be thinking. I think we've covered an awful lot of it.
Right. Other things that I'll tell you. Other things.
Hey, Larry.
Byron, looking ahead, some of the other things that we're considering trying to fit into this really vast amount of time that's opened up are a repeat or a run of the FO4 using Owen as a subject, taking about a half an hour to do that.
No, I don't know. I haven't seen the data. I guess I could let Owen comment a little bit on what he observed from me.
Byron, this is 102.
My opinion on what you is that the only uncertainty about position relates to the fact that you are when you're blindfolded or cannot see, you obviously cannot determine what your sense of orientation is. And if you drift out of attitude, then you don't know your attitude by whatever amount you've drifted out. And I don't, in my opinion, think that it would be worth another subject to go through that.
We copy that, Owen. We also are we would be anxious to try to get additional data on the two dropping experiments. And I would like to go and ask each of you how you would feel about participating as a subject in the additional hop and drop or an additional drop and shock.
One seems to be named Gaston.
Say again.
Except anyway, whatever you fellows want.
Okay, we'll get back to you. We're looking at the details. Finally, looking well down into late in the day when we have an FO2A just after lunch. There's a considerable amount of time following that, and we will be giving you detailed instructions about repeating some of those runs.
What we're fixing to do is to put some silver stripes on this dome, which will have better contrast than the black. However, I'm not inclined to think that this is very likely to produce any sort of vection, Larry, because it only will subtend a very small part of the field, and the majority of your visual field is going to be fixed to a space lab wall.
I copy that, Owen, and you're probably right. One of the things that we would suggest that you do is stand fairly close to it, of the order of half a meter, and block out your peripheral vision by putting your hands up around the sides of your eyes. That is just making a mask with your hands. Do you copy?
Go. Go.
Space Lab, you were broken up. Say again.
Wilco, understand. And Larry, while I'm putting the electrodes on here, just a quick debrief comment for Ken Money. During his experiment, I didn't feel any strange sense of orientation, but the other night I was just about asleep and realized that my right hand was touching something, and then when I figured out what it was my left hand. So it may lend a little bit of support to Ken's experiment, but during the formal portion of the experiment, I didn't notice any significant problems determining my limb position.
We copy.
Uh, 102 for Byron.
Go ahead.
Byron, we wanted to also explain what the other ESA 30 recorder number 1 is doing in the Space Lab at this time. Did that get explained to you?
Wolf took it off, and it was sitting here for us. That's all I understand.
Okay. The reason we took it off is that Harry has noticed that recorder is identical to the recorder 3 that we use in FO2 alpha, with the exception that it has a 3 times higher gain on the EOG system. And we thought that it should be brought into the Space Lab for use in any EOG recording on Owen, since sometimes his EOG gains, as far as the microvolts per degree of eye movement, tend to be low. You copy?
Okay, copy recorder number 1.
Roger.
And Space Lab, be advised, we're going to have about a 30-second drop out in about 20 seconds. For about 30 seconds.
Okay, Bill. Since we already had it down here, we just didn't need to say anything else. So if we hadn't seen it, well, we'd have given you a call.
Space Lab for Owen, this is 102. Go ahead.
Okay, Roger, we got you loud and clear now.
Okay, I guess we're ready to try a little bit of looking at vertical nystagmus, and what I'm most interested in is any asymmetry. So we would, if, for example, if you run through a complete 6-minute dome run with one of you inside in the normal fashion as a subject, eyeballs being recorded, the other one in the mid-aisle looking at it and recording EOGs. Now, what we need to have you do is press the button at the beginning of each dome run so that we can sync the Metalog tape recorder EOG with the dome runs, which also have GMT. When you push the button, you should read current GMT from the wall clock onto your tape recorder. Do you copy?
We copy. Okay, Larry, I'm going to be in the dome free floating, and Byron is just now about to get checked out on the Metalog, and we got 8 stripes on the dome, and we're set up to initiate in just a minute or two.
Very good. When this is all finished, would you mind taking a couple of photographs of the dome with the stripes on it, and so we know how things stood, and have Byron estimate how far away from the dome he was standing, so we can get a rough calibration. Also, have him calibrate his EOG by looking in the usual way at the aft end cone.
I don't see a camera handy. If we find one, fine, but all it amounts to is we've put an extra stripe in between each of the Velcro strips, and he can estimate the distance pretty accurately, so there's really not much to it.
Okay, that's fine, Owen. Carry on.
Okay, for Chuck Oman and the 030 people, I've got the electrodes on and everything wired up. Tape recorder number 1's running and the monitor box is plugged in, but I don't see any signal either horizontal or vertical. And I'm in the 030 position, and I'm oscillating back and forth between EOG switches on the monitor box. Over.
Okay, and you are using recorder number 1, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, let's go to recorder 3.
Sorry, say again, Chuck?
Go to recorder 3. And call me back when you get it on. I got one other thing for you to think about.
Was Wolf reporting a good signal when he was doing the experiment, Chuck?
You were stepped on, Byron. Please repeat.
Was Ulf reporting a good signal when he last used the Metalog?
We infer so. When they reported successful completion, I assume they used the test box, but don't really know. We didn't get that much of a debrief. Things were pretty hectic this morning.
Okay, well, we still got no signal here.
You got batteries in the thing?
The tape appears to be running.
Okay.
EOG signal.
Okay. I suggest we go to recorder 3 for this afternoon's operations. And as we use the recorder, as we reach the end of a run, we have to find some way of marking the end of a operation. The way to do that is to just pull the plug on the harness going into the recorder for about 15 to 30 seconds. We'll be able to pick that up pretty well on the playback. That way we can separate one subject for another, for example.
We understand that.
Byron and Owen, if you fail to get the Metalog recording going at this point, the other method that you could use is staying in split screen. See if it's possible to have one of the TV cameras pointed at the face of the subject who's looking at the rotating dome. That may be an impossible shot to get at. But first, proceed and see if recorder 3 will do the job.
The second screen, Larry, can see the profile of the fellow looking at the side, but he will certainly be unable to see his eye movements.
Right, and I don't imagine that there's any way to move it to enable that, is there, Owen?
No way.
Okay, Owen, have there been any issues related to visual vestibular interaction that have occurred to you that you'd like to look at, particularly during the LOS periods?
Let me think about it, but first impression is negative.
And Owen, I take it that you feel reasonably strongly that it is not worth the time to repeat FO4 with you as a subject. Is that firm?
It's affirmative. In the 030 position on the metal log, and we get both horizontal and vertical. I don't know why it wasn't working in the other positions. 030 seems to give appropriate outputs.
Very good. We see there's an EOG switch. And just try upper or lower on the monitor box. See what you get.
Aaron said he did that, and it's working all right now. It's on the recorder number 3.
We copy. Congratulations.
Okay, gentlemen, I'll let you both carry on as subjects, and the data will tell me what dome runs you're running. You try to document it as best you can, and do this up to 0100, at which time you should turn to, as I understand it, turn to the MSDR work.
Okay, we copy that, and we're ready to go here, Larry.
Okay, if you get a chance to report to me.
Chuck, I'll give 2 push buttons, and do we still have the one shots in here, so it has to be 20 seconds in between?
That's affirmative, Byron. And Byron, if you get a chance to troubleshoot recorder number 1, I think that would give us some feeling for whether we were getting data on ALF this morning.
Okay, we'll look at it later.
Copy.
There's 2 pushes on the button. The dome is starting. First push was at 5:0052:30, and the second was 0:05:3:14. And the dome is now producing, which should be upward vection for me. I don't feel a whole lot, Larry.
Right, I copy.
I'm about 12 inches away from the dome.
Copy, 12 inches. Just if we run through this whole dome run, is this dome run number 5 you're doing, Byron?
It shows dome run number 4, Larry.
That's fine, as long as we know what it is. Let's go through the whole 6 minutes.
Yeah, Larry, I didn't get any vertical vection at all on last dome runs, floating horizontally here to try and get some yaw.
We copy.
Okay, quite easy to get good yaw vection.
Copy, good yaw vection. Can you narrate a little bit about how far away from the dome you are and what speed it is? We can read it negative. We can read the speed down here.
Okay, I'd say about 15 inches. That was the end of the dome run. Looks like it is possible to get good yaw action when you're free floating, but not quite so easy if you have your feet held down somewhere.
Okay, we copy that, Byron, and so does 102.
102, as far as further hop and drop and shock, it seems to me the question or the answer to that depends a lot on what the data look like on the ground. And since we don't have that to look at, you're in a much much better position to answer that than we are. As far as things that we might say on board, the sort of subjective course of adaptation to weightlessness would seem to be something we might comment on, but that could be more easily done, I think, in a careful debriefing post-flight with the stuff that some people, at any rate, have been putting on tape recorders, plus your questions and our answers post-flight regarding the time history of this adaptation. I think that might be as useful an additional item as I can think of.
Real good, Owen. We copy. I'm going to have to use one of you guys to do some MSDR work, if I may now.
Go ahead, Mike.
Owen, we would like to have the other one made aware of the fact that Helen Ross would like to see if we can work in an additional 025, which would require a half hour per man.
Okay, Owen, if you're ready to go to work at the MSDR, I have some keystrokes I'd like you to type in and get these experiments running again. Are you ready?
Keystroke.
Right. First, I need an open 057370. Enter.
It took me a moment to find your new open there. So open 357. What's your next digits?
The final three digits are 370.
Do you like that?
Yeah, that open button ought to have coordinates of 34.
Yeah, I've got it. So I've got open 357-370.
Thank you very much. You may enter that. And please read out what you see on line 8 of the CCO display.
Balls, 6 balls.
6 balls. Can you confirm that what you opened was 057370?
I read open 357-370. Enter.
Okay, that's not what I intended. Let me, if you stand by a second, I'll try and work around that, see if we have work. Okay, Owen, let's try this. Try open 057370. Enter. And please read out line 8.
Still read 6 balls.
Real good. Now enter close, whose coordinates are 44, 000010.
Entered.
Now open 043036. Now please verify what you see on line 8.
03003.
Did you say 103003?
Affirmative.
Thank you. Now close 000403. Real good. Now I'm going to read you some steps I'd like you to write down. We have a 2 to 5 minute wait while we wait for VGS ops lamp to come on. If you have a pencil, I'll give you some numbers to copy.
Good.
Say again.
Ready to write. Go ahead.
Really good. Open 046062. And verify 000261.
Go ahead.
Close 000240. Open 046064. Verify 000207.
Okay.
Close 000240.
Okay.
Open 050442. And verify 000247.
Okay, do you require a read back on this, or?
I don't believe so, Owen. I don't believe so. We're just modifying very slightly the CCO measurement sequence, and I believe if any of these verifies, does not verify, you can proceed with it anyway. It'll just slightly change the sequence at which the measurements get read. I have a few more of these to go. The next one is close 007777. And open 050510. Verify 000714. Close 007777. Open 055140. Verify 000163. Close 000176. Open 055212. And verify 000100. Close 000146. And the following steps will cause the cooling gas to get changed out, one gas instead of the other. Open 051660. Verify 040000. Close 100000. Then I have another block of steps, if you're ready to copy them, which you can proceed right on with. Open 133632. Verify 177777. I've also received a message that I was wrong a little earlier. If any of these verifies fails, they don't want you to proceed. Rather stop and troubleshoot whatever the problem is. Continuing along.
Yeah, I understand, Mike.
Okay, thank you, Owen. Continuing along.
How many more do we have? How many more of these do we have?
It looks like 12 more.
Good.
Stand by a sec. Okay, the next string here is close 001440. Open 133666. Verify 077220. Close 00100. I'm sorry, I read that wrong. That was a close 000100.
Okay, say again, 000100, is that right?
That's an affirmative, Owen. Sorry I stumbled there. Only a few more. Open 133676. Verify 077220. Close 000100. Open 133712. Verify 055220. Close 002162. Open 133722. Verify 055220. And finally, close 002162. That's that.
And
Hey, Mike, and how soon should I start these?
Okay, and as soon as you get the furnace set up, we'd like you to do a setup on hop and drop and let Brian be the subject until 1:40.
Okay, and so by setting up the furnace, you mean proceed with all of these keystrokes and then go into hop and drop?
That's affirmative.
You just start the keystrokes, Mike?
Yeah, you can start those anytime. The furnace should be ready for all this input.
Furnace is number one priority.
Okay.
And we hope you got that VGS ops lamp on.
And we have you for about 5 seconds. And
That's affirmative.
we have you for 5
We
seconds.
only have a VGS temp ops only. Ops only on a VGS.
Repeat.
The temp ops on VGS. MP.
Okay, we understand. You have TMP ops lamp on.
And we'll see you at Aurora at 1+27. Space Lab, this is Marshall Ops. We have you for 1 minute and 40 seconds.
Loud and clear.
Real good. We have 4 more steps for you on the material science work if you're ready to copy, Owen.
Fine.
Real good. First of all, after you've got all the keystrokes done, we'd like you to verify that you have the VGS ops light on, which signifies the complete run-up of the turbo pump and everything. The second step is, at CCO, key in, start, MHF, enter, which will bring the MHF start its travel towards the load-unload position. The third step is, at the CCO, start, cryo, 3, enter. And after a while, you find that the MHF will unlock itself. You'll be able to swap out the partly processed 323 cartridge for the spare 323 cartridge, which is also stowed in Lima 8 Echo. The procedure you'll need is on page 323-18, and that'll get the MSDR back into work. The other message we have for you is that...
Hey, Mike, let's hold up here a minute.
Okay.
Hold up here for a minute. First of all, we do not have the VGS ops light on. The most we have is the TMP, thermomolecular pump ops light on. And I have keyed in all of the keystrokes that you sent me up before. So do you want to stop and look at it at that point or not?
Okay, stand by. It may take a bit of time before that VGS ops lamp comes on. I'm not sure. I'm going to check with 300. But I did have one other message for you, and that is that the API DEP update, which is your ephemeris table for day 7, needn't be keyed in exactly at 1 hour 30 minutes. You can slip that to 1 hour 45 or whenever you're comfortable with it. It's non-time critical.
And do we have those DEP updates?
They're on board. They are your table of ephemeris updates for day number 7.
Fine, thank you.
Okay, and we'll see you at 1 plus 46 at Hawaii.
I never did get IOT enter, was that correct?
Negative copy. We lost you on.
Start, MHF, enter, which will bring the MHF start its travel towards the load-unload position. The third step is, at the CCO, start, cryo, 3, enter. And after a while, you find that the MHF will unlock itself. You'll be able to swap out the partly processed 323 cartridge for the spare 323 cartridge, which is also stowed in Lima 8 Echo. The procedure you'll need is on page 323-18, and that'll get the MSDR back into work. The other message we have for you is
Hey, Mike, let's hold up here a minute.
Okay.
Hold up here for a minute. First of all, we do not have the VGS ops light on. The most we have is the TMP, thermomolecular pump ops light on. And I have keyed in all of the keystrokes that you sent me up before. So do you want to stop and look at it at that point or not?
Okay, stand by. It may take a bit of time before that VGS ops lamp comes on. I'm not sure. I'm going to check with 300. But I did have one other message for you, and that is that the API DEP update, which is your ephemeris table for day 7, needn't be keyed in exactly at 1 hour 30 minutes. You can slip that to 1 hour 45 or whenever you're comfortable with it. It's non-time critical.
And do we have those depth updates?
They're on board. They are your table of ephemeris updates for day number 7.
Fine, thank you.
Okay, and we'll see you at 1+46 at Hawaii.
I never did get IOT header, was that correct?
Negative copy, we lost you on. This is Marshall Space Lab Operations, 7 days, 1 hour, 29 minutes, mission elapsed time. Loss of signal through the Aurora Valley Ground Tracking Station as the orbiter moves toward the equator on the end of its 114th revolution of the Earth. During that brief pass of just over 1 minute, crew interface coordinator Bill Bach provided some additional guidance for the crew as they are doing some additional material science double rack activities, bringing a portion of that rack back online. And our next acquisition of signal, approximately 14, just under 15 minutes away. That acquisition of signal scheduled to be through the Hawaii Ground Tracking Station just after we cross the equator on the ascending node of orbit 115. 7 days, 1 hour, 31 minutes mission elapsed time. This is Marshall Space Lab Operations. This is Marshall Space Lab Operations at 7 days, 1 hour, 44 minutes mission elapsed time. Standing by now for reacquisition of signal through the Hawaii Ground Tracking Station, just under a minute from now. That pass should be approximately 5 minutes in length. On board Space Lab, crew will be Space Lab, Houston.
Space Lab, go ahead.
Roger, I have a note for you on the SAL activation when you're ready to copy.
Hey, copy, Brian.
Roger, at an MET of 7 days, 3 hours, and 5 minutes, we'd like you to perform the Activate SAL procedure, page 7-2 of the Space Lab Ops Checklist, prior to conducting your VFT SAL operations. And when you do that, we would like a report of the SAL heater status by having you tell us which heater LED light is on. The rationale for that is that the seal flange left number 1 temp has been 2 to 5 degrees lower than the other seal flange temps, and our data shows a heater has been on continuously. We'd like to determine which of the heaters is on. Over.
Okay, fine. I'll do that at 3 hours, so that's still 1 hour away, and I'll take care of it then.
Okay, thanks, and I'll hand the air-to-ground 1 loop back over to the Marshall Ops folks. And Space Lab, this is Marshall Operations. For anyone?
You delay on some of that MSDR stuff until we get the 90 Alpha up and running, right? Hey, Mark, this is Wolf speaking.
Go ahead, Olf.
Okay, I'm here in front of the MSDRs. I'm trying to complete my claims. If I can help, I'm more than willing.
Okay, Elf, we copy. In fact, we're trying to schedule another run for Mike Haynes a little later on in this shift, but we hope that you can get some rest and not stay up all night.
Yeah, I will do that, but we are in a lost situation with Mike Haynes. When I hit the switch at the MSDR, we lost the zero setting, and that was just on the way to screw his seal assembly, and I'm now trying to recover from that.
Yeah, we understand. In fact, Mike Haynes also figured that out and has worked up a procedure which involves doing his capillarity experiment out of the fluid physics module instead of inside. He has a plastic model here and is figuring out camera angles and things. But I think my advice would be just try and get some rest if you can. We'll see if we can fit that in a little bit later.
Okay.
We also have a teleprinter message for you concerning the forthcoming HOTS test. Some of the investigators would like some housekeeping checked every now and then, and on the teleprinter message, you'll find some activities to do at your leisure, but preferably during AOS, whenever time permits during the hot test. You can have a look at this after you're done with your 102 activities. Of course, we're interested in knowing how those go. Also, at the bottom, please be very sure that you read the special note, which is at the bottom of that teleprinter message. We're very interested that you read that carefully. Yes, and the OC reminds me that these hot test temperature checks are run during AOS, in order that we can have a look at the engineering data from the experiments. We're, of course, interested in finding out what temperatures we have out on the pallet during this test.
Roger, Mike, we copy, and Byron's here, and I'm ready at the MSDR console. I just have a quick question for you. We have not done anything like the CTO start MHF enter or the cryo enter or whatever, so if you want to take it from the top there, I'd be happy.
Yeah, okay, Byron, we were a little surprised that we did not get that VGS system ops lamp on. Is that correct? Can you tell me the status of the VGS right now?
Sure, the pump is ops, and the ITS pump number 1 is on. The turbomolecular pump has the ops light on, and that's it.
I see. Okay, the VGS ops lamp is off then, is that right?
Affirmative. Hey, Mike, I'd like to make one comment. About 3 hours ago, Byron pointed out that we had only one water pump running, and that was pump 2. I was trying to fix that problem, and I might have caused that problem with the VGS, but I hope we can recover from that.
Yes, so if we understand, we can probably work around that. For some of the high-power MHF runs, we will be trying to use both pumps together in order to get more water flow to the MHF and minimize the temperature difference. And the 300 team will be looking into that as soon as we get some KU band coverage and they can flow data to their GSE. We'll work up a procedure for you at that time.
Okay.
And one other item, you may get a 21 error message, 05, parameter out of limits, disregard.
Okay, we got it as you call. Thank you, Bill.
And also our data may be ratty at the first part of this next ground pass, so we'll probably see you in about 10 minutes through S-band.
Yep. We going over for a little bit, guys?
Yes, anywhere from 2 to 10 minutes.
Okay, we did 10 drops on each of the 3 G levels for Doug Watt's experiment.
Roger, we copied 10 drops.
That's terrific, Byron. We copy 1 or 2 copies, and we're delighted. The only real constraint against dropping during MSDR operations starts something like 45 minutes after we've initiated an MHF sample melt, and so we don't really have any constraint against you yet until we get those furnaces up and running. Space Lab Marshal Ops again. Could you repeat, did both subjects do hopping and dropping? This is Marshal Space Lab Operations, 7 days, 1 hour, 52 minutes mission elapsed time. That acquisition through Hawaii Ground Tracking Station lasted a little longer than originally anticipated. Came up a bit early and lasted a little longer. We have just under a minute now prior to reacquisition through the Tracking and Data Relay Satellite System. On board Space Lab, the crew setting up and perhaps even in the progress at this time of working experiment 102, the hop and drop portion of it. Additionally, they're going to be doing, continuing with some work with the vacuum gas system of the material science double rack. Apparently a switch in that system that directs the attention of a vacuum sensor has been causing some problems, and here in the Payload Control Center, the Experiment 300 team been working up a software patch to try and work around that problem. Also, although off shift, Ulf Mirbold still up and in the habitable module. Standing by now for reacquisition through TDRS for about 51 minutes.
And Space Lab, this is Marshal Ops, how copy? And be advised, in the blind we are off the tail, so comm is going to be ratty here for a while. Okay, Marshall, how do you read Space Lab, over? Yeah, we read you, but Byron, be advised, this is going to be a ratty pass. And Space Lab, this is Marshall Ops. We have lock again. How copy? Space Lab, we're reading you very, very broken, very weak. Okay, and we'd like for you to check on the SWA to make sure the safety shield is installed on the inside SWA window. Space Lab, we need the safety shield installed on the inside of the SWA window. Do you copy? And Space Lab, we'd like to have the safety shield installed on the SWA window. If you have a chance, there's some potential for some thermal problems. Talking about the inner shield, right? That's correct, the inner shield. Okay, Bill, if you see if it's very warm, would that help? Yeah, there are some potential thermal problems that our people are concerned about, Owen, and that's the reason for that. Let me just check to see if it's warm and may avoid having to get the thermal shield up there. No, they're telling me here that we prefer that it is installed. Well, we've already got the cover on top of it, of course. Yeah, we understand all that. The safety cover? Yeah. The safety cover on the inside of the window? That's affirmative. We want it installed. We understand your concern. So you understand now, we just got our hand up there. The temperature is room temperature, nothing out of the ordinary, and you want us to swing the metric camera out of the way in order to install a safety cover. Yes, that's affirmative. That's to prepare for the hot test. Well, if it's only to prepare, we would like to get these other experiments finished here and then get at it in a few minutes. Yeah, we copy that, Owen, and go ahead. But we do need it done before the hot test attitude. And while this activity is going on orbit, here in the Payload Operations Control Center, team members from the Experiment 19 research team looking at data from their experiment operated on orbit. Marshall Ops, Space Lab, how do you lead? Go ahead. Okay, I've been standing by waiting on the MSTR folks and Michael. Find out where we go from here. The cryostat ops and ops position lights are on steady, so I assume that one's probably okay. Okay, and we're talking to 300 here. Just a second, Byron. Space Lab, this is Marshall Operations for Byron. Roger, go ahead, Mike. Yeah, right. I've just been talking with Mel Brooks and the rest of the 300 people. They have had a look at the data. They've recommended what we do at this point is go through a complete shutdown and startup. You shouldn't do anything right now. Mel is putting together a comprehensive procedure which is going to bring it back down and bring it back up into a known condition. Evidently the patches which we attempted didn't have exactly the desired effect, so we're going to have to work that in the future. And Byron, we have one other communication from the Experiment 19 people. At this time, they would like to go to a calibration, which you can do on the display, and they then, after 30 seconds, would like you to go into the low sensitivity mode, and then after 30 more seconds, would like you to go to the high sensitivity mode. If you could do that now, please, or if someone could do it. Okay.
12 kilovolts, so we have to stay stretched out across the full energy spectrum to see them both.
Okay, Owen, we copy. Thanks very much for your report. And we're now receiving downlink television of experiment 102, the dome portion of that experiment recorded earlier on board. Owen Garriott was the subject for this particular operation, and we're viewing Garriott peering into the dome, and then from the other camera looking at a shot of his eyeball. Space Lab, this is Marshall Operations. We are now receiving our playback data of the split-screen TV-17 setup of the dome run, and the 102 team is absolutely delighted with the image quality. The pupil, the iris of the eye is evidently almost perfectly centered in the split-screen setup, and we're also getting the postural effects at the same time. Also, the 102 people would like to remind you that you are go for using both Byron and Owen as subjects in the FO5 activities whenever you can fit them in today.
Okay, Mike, I'm all done and the stuff's all stowed now. We're also out of electrode kits.
Okay, Byron, thanks very much. Space Lab, this is Marshall Operations. For anyone near a DDU, we'd like you to give the 19A ECAS an item 16 enter to toggle into the high sensitivity mode. If you could do that now, please.
Okay, I do show the geometric factor is high right now. I'll give it an item 16, which will probably toggle it to low.
Okay, Owen, we copy. Yeah, try that item 16.
Yeah, I've tried item 16 about 3 or 4 times in the last several minutes, and it remains on my display as high. I am unable to change. Oops, it just now changed to low.
I see. Well, we do have perhaps a little confusion concerning which geometry factor is currently in effect. We'll check back with the 19 people and let you know how that's going. Thanks for trying that toggling for us. By the way, Owen, the TV-17 transmission is excellent. We're receiving that playback now.
Okay, got it.
And Space Lab, this is Marshall Ops for Owen again. Now we recognize where that confusion comes from. The ground has also been commanding item 16. Could you please, Owen, give us one more item 16, which ought to leave us in the high sensitivity mode?
It did, and I should think I don't see anything saturated, so we probably ought to stay there at high sensitivity without picked up with feedback. Scheduled to roll out at 19 in about a few minutes. Do you want to take it out at that time or leave it in any longer?
Stand by, we'll check. And Owen, the metric camera is, of course, now up at the window, but tilted because that safety cover. We're just going to leave the thing up there at the window, making possible time for some future operations. So you don't need to stow that yet during this shift. We may need to stow it next shift or the shift after. We'll let you know on that. And Owen, leave 19.
The whole camera, you mean?
And Owen,
leave 19 in.
That's affirmative. Continuing to receive pre-recorded downlink television from Space Lab. This of the rotating dome experiment. The subject here is Byron Lichtenberg, and he is wearing a special contact lens with landmarks on it to enable the researchers to study the nystagmus or eye motion. This eye motion created as the eye attempts to track the rotation of the dome. Also visible in the close-up of the eyeball is the reflection of the spots on the dome, visible, being reflected in the subject's eye. And that concludes this downlink of experiment data video collected earlier on the rotating dome experiment. Experiment 102, one of a series of vestibular experiments being carried out during Space Lab 1 mission. Columbia, Houston on air-to-ground 1. No need to answer. We're going to have a late AOS at Dakar due to teleprinter. Dakar is a 2-line station. And Space Lab, Marshal Ops for Byron. Go ahead, Bill. Yeah, we've found you some extra electrodes. They're in Romeo 10 Papa. They are the ESA Metatrace EOGs. And the ones in the foil pouches, and they have a little string on them. And they are part of experiment 030. And PI for 030 has consented to let you use them. Okay, we copy that. And we're receiving some additional downlink television from Space Lab. This television also of experiment 102, the rotating dome. Byron Lichtenberg as the subject. And my thought, Space Lab, you guys, the inner cover is on the floor now. Okay, and we copy, and we thank you so much, Byron. And Owen, we'd like to have you turn off experiment 19 at this time. Space Lab, this is Marshal Operations. You can disregard the experiment 21 pointing fail message. We're looking into that now, but we do have some confirmation that you're very close. You can also disregard the experiment 21 command failure. We're very close to what? That you're very close to 21 Alpha, but yeah, you're very close to the minus Z solar attitude that you guys should be at. Space Lab, this is Marshal Operations for anyone who might be available. If any of you guys has a free moment, we'd like you to look out the aft viewport and try and judge whether experiment 19's cover is open, closed, or in an intermediate position. Our data down here makes it look like it's an in-between position, that is to say, not quite fully shut. Okay, Mike, that's the one. Stand by, thanks. Thanks a lot. Thanks, Lisa. Looks like it's closed from here, Mike. It's at least 99 and 44/100% closed. Real good, Byron. I appreciate you having a look for us. Since we're coming up on minus Z solar attitude, the 19 team did get their cover shut, and they just wanted some visual confirmation of that. And we'll tell the 19 team. Roger. I can't tell if it's really locked or not, but it's over tight. I mean, it's over and, completely obscuring the instruments from the sun. Okay, we copy. I'll get with 19. And Space Lab Marshal Ops, you're going to get one of those 21 command fail messages about every 3 minutes. Okay, for how long? We're looking at it here on the ground, Owen, and as soon as we find the problem, we'll take care of it. Thank you. And Space Lab, this is Marshal Ops. For Owen, we'd like you to do an item 1 on display page 21 Alpha. Do it twice. Okay. And Space Lab, this is Marshal Ops for someone who can copy a quick one. Okay, we're dumping recorder 2 right now to the ground, and we're getting ready to switch to TV05 before we go over the hill. If we don't get switched back, if we happen to get an LOS early or something, we want you to use recorder 1. Recorder 1 for 05. That's affirmative.
We're not set up for TDL5 yet, so we'll go ahead and do it. Just let us, we'll go ahead and turn it on.
Now receiving live downlink television from the orbiter card. Start MHF, enter, which will bring the MHF start its travel towards the load-unload position. The third step is, at the CCO, start, cryo, 3, enter. And after a while, you find that the MHF will unlock itself. You'll be able to swap out the partly processed 323 cartridge for the spare 323 cartridge, which is also stowed in Lima 8 Echo. The procedural lead is on page 323-18, and that'll get the MSDR back into work. The other message we have for you is
Hey, Mike, let's hold up here a minute.
Okay.
Hold up here for a minute. First of all, we do not have the VGS ops light on. The most we have is the TMP, thermomolecular pump ops light on. And I have keyed in all of the keystrokes that you sent me up before. So do you want to stop and look at it at that point or not?
Okay, stand by. It may take a bit of time before that VGS ops lamp comes on. I'm not sure. I'm going to check with 300. But I did have one other message for you, and that is that the API DEP update, which is your ephemeris table for day 7, needn't be keyed in exactly at 1 hour 30 minutes. You can slip that to 1 hour 45 or whenever you're comfortable with it. It's non-time critical.
And do we have those DEP updates?
They're on board. They are your table of ephemeris updates for day number 7.
Fine, thank you.
Okay, and we'll see you at 1+46 at Hawaii.
I never did get the IOT header, was that correct?
Negative copy, we lost you on. This is Marshall Space Lab Operations, 7 days, 1 hour, 29 minutes, mission elapsed time. Loss of signal through the Aurora Valley Ground Tracking Station as the orbiter moves toward the end of, toward the equator, on the end of its 114th revolution of the Earth. During that brief pass of just over 1 minute, crew interface coordinator Bill Bach provided some additional guidance for the crew as they are doing some additional material science double rack activities, bringing a portion of that rack back online. And our next acquisition of signal, approximately 14, just under 15 minutes away. That acquisition of signal scheduled to be through the Hawaii Ground Tracking Station just after we cross the equator on the ascending node of orbit 115. 7 days, 1 hour, 31 minutes mission elapsed time. This is Marshall Space Lab Operations. This is Marshall Space Lab Operations at 7 days, 1 hour, 44 minutes mission elapsed time. Standing by now for reacquisition of signal through the Hawaii Ground Tracking Station, just under a minute from now. That pass should be approximately 5 minutes in length. On board Space Lab, crew will be Space Lab, Houston.
Space Lab, go ahead.
Roger, I have a note for you on the SAL activation when you're ready to copy.
Hey, copy, Brian.
Roger, at an MET of 7 days, 3 hours, and 5 minutes, we'd like you to perform the Activate SAL procedure, page 7-2 of the Space Lab Ops Checklist, prior to conducting your VFT SAL operations. And when you do that, we would like a report of the SAL heater status by having you tell us which heater LED light is on. The rationale for that is that the seal flange left number 1 temp has been 2 to 5 degrees lower than the other seal flange temps, and our data shows a heater has been on continuously. We'd like to determine which of the heaters is on. Over.
Okay, fine. I'll do that at 3 hours, so that's still 1 hour away, and I'll take care of it then.
Okay, thanks, and I'll hand the air-to-ground 1 loop back over to the Marshal Ops folks. And Space Lab, this is Marshal Operations. For anyone?
You delay on some of that MSDR stuff until we get the 19 Alpha up and running, right? Hey, Mike, this is Wolf speaking.
Go ahead, Olf.
Okay, I'm here in front of the MSDRs. I'm trying to complete my claims. If I can help, I'm more than willing.
Okay, Elf, we copy. In fact, we're trying to schedule another run for Mike Haynes a little later on in this shift, but we hope that you can get some rest and not stay up all night.
Yeah, I will do that, but we are in a lost situation with Mike Haynes. When I hit the switch at the MSDR, we lost the zero setting, and that was just on the way to screw his gear assembly, and I'm now trying to recover from that.
Yeah, we understand. In fact, Mike Haynes also figured that out and has worked up a procedure which involves doing his capillarity experiment out of the fluid physics module instead of inside. He has a plastic model here and is figuring out camera angles and things. But I think my advice would be just try and get some rest if you can. We'll see if we can fit that in a little bit later.
Okay.
We also have a teleprinter message for you concerning the forthcoming HOTS test. Some of the investigators would like some housekeeping checked every now and then, and on the teleprinter message you'll find some activities to do at your leisure, but preferably during AOS whenever time permits during the hot test. You can have a look at this after you're done with your 102 activities. Of course, we're interested in knowing how those go. Also, at the bottom, please be very sure that you read the special note, which is at the bottom of that teleprinter message. We're very interested that you read that carefully. Yes, and the OC reminds me that these hot test temperature checks are run during AOS in order that we can have a look at the engineering data from the experiments. We're, of course, interested in finding out what temperatures we have out on the pallet during this test.
Roger, Mike, we copy, and Byron's here, and I'm ready at the MSDR console. I just have a quick question for you. We have not done anything like the CTO start MHF enter or the cryo enter or whatever, so if you want to take it from the top there, I'd be happy.
Yeah, okay, Byron, we were a little surprised that we did not get that VGS system ops lamp on. Is that correct? Can you tell me the status of the VGS right now?
The pump is ops, and the ITS pump number 1 is on. The turbomolecular pump has the ops light on, and that's it.
I see. Okay, the VGS ops lamp is off then, is that right?
Affirmative. Hey, Mike, I'd like to make one comment. About 3 hours ago, Byron pointed out that we had only one water pump running, and that was pump 2. I was trying to fix that problem, and I might have caused that problem with the VGS, but I hope we can recover from that.
Yes, so if we understand, we can probably work around that. For some of the high-power MHF runs, we will be trying to use both pumps together in order to get more water flow to the MHF and minimize the temperature difference. And the 300 team will be looking into that as soon as we get some KU band coverage and they can flow data to their GSE. We'll work up a procedure for you at that time.
Okay.
And one other item, you may get a 21 error message, 05, parameter out of limits, disregard.
Okay, we got it as you call. Thank you, Bill.
And also our data may be ratty at the first part of this next ground pass, so we'll probably see you in about 10 minutes through S-band.
Yep. We going over for a little bit, guys?
Yes, anywhere from 2 to 10 minutes.
Okay, we did 10 drops on each of the 3 G levels for Doug Watt's experiment.
Roger, we copied 10 drops. That's terrific, Byron. We copy 1 or 2 copies, and we're delighted. The only real constraint against dropping during MSDR operations starts something like 45 minutes after we've initiated an MHF sample melt, and so we don't really have any constraint against you yet until we get those furnaces up and running. Space Lab Marshal Ops again. Could you repeat, did both subject do hopping and dropping? This is Marshal Space Lab Operations, 7 days, 1 hour, 52 minutes mission elapsed time. That acquisition through Hawaii Ground Tracking Station lasted a little longer than originally anticipated. Came up a bit early and lasted a little longer. We have just under a minute now prior to reacquisition through the Tracking and Data Relay Satellite System. On board Space Lab, the crew setting up and perhaps even in the progress at this time of working Experiment 102, the hop and drop portion of it. Additionally, they're going to be doing, continuing with some work with the vacuum gas system of the material science double rack. Apparently a switch in that system that directs the attention of a vacuum sensor has been causing some problems, and here in the Payload Control Center, the Experiment 300 team been working up a software patch to try and work around that problem. Also, although off shift, Ulf Mirbold still up and in the habitable module. Standing by now for reacquisition through TDRS for about 51 minutes.
And Space Lab, this is Marshal Ops. How copy? And be advised, in the blind, we are off the tail, so comm is going to be ratty here for a while. Okay, Marshal, how do you read Space Lab, over? Yeah, we read you, but Byron, be advised, this is going to be a ratty pass. And Space Lab, this is Marshal Ops. We have lock again. How copy? Space Lab, we're reading you very, very broken, very weak. Okay, and we'd like for you to check on the SWA to make sure the safety shield is installed on the inside SWA window. Space Lab, we need the safety shield installed on the inside of the SWA window. Do you copy? And Space Lab, we'd like to have the safety shield installed on the SWA window. If you have a chance, there's some potential for some thermal problems. Talking about the inner shield, right? That's correct, the inner shield. Okay, Bill, if you see if it's very warm, would that help? Yeah, there are some potential thermal problems that our people are concerned about, Owen, and that's the reason for that. Let me just check to see if it's warm and may avoid having to get the thermal shield up there. No, they're telling me here that we prefer that it is installed. Well, we've already got the cover on top of it, of course. Yeah, we understand all that. The safety cover? Yeah. The safety cover on the inside of the window? That's affirmative. We want it installed. We understand your concern. So you understand now, we just got our hand up there. The temperature is room temperature, nothing out of the ordinary, and you want us to swing the metric camera out of the way in order to install a safety cover. Yes, that's affirmative. That's to prepare for the hot test. Well, if it's only to prepare, we would like to get these other experiments finished here and then get at it in a few minutes. Yeah, we copy that, Owen, and go ahead. But we do need it done before the hot test attitude.
activities going on orbit here in the Payload Operations Control Center. Team members from the Experiment 19 research team looking at data from their experiment operated on orbit.
Marshal Ops, Space Lab, how do you lead?
Go ahead.
Okay, I've been standing by waiting on the MSDR folks and Michael. Find out where we go from here. The cryostat ops and ops position lights are on steady, so I assume that one's probably okay.
Okay, and we're talking to 300 here. Just a second, Byron. Space Lab, this is Marshal Operations for Byron.
Roger, go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, right. I've just been talking with Mel Brooks and the rest of the 300 people. They have had a look at the data. They've recommended what we do at this point is go through a complete shutdown and startup. You shouldn't do anything right now. Mel is putting together a comprehensive procedure which is going to bring it back down and bring it back up into a known condition. Evidently the patches which we attempted didn't have exactly the desired effect, so we're going to have to work that in the future. And Byron, we have one other communication from the Experiment 19 people. At this time, they would like to go to a calibration, which you can do on the display, and they then, after 30 seconds, would like you to go into the low sensitivity mode, and then after 30 more seconds, would like you to go to the high sensitivity mode. If you could do that now, please, or if someone could do it.
Okay. Yeah, I'll do that, and as they're looking at the data right now, the electron flux has an interesting peak both at a low energies, a few kilovolts, as well as another peak up around 12 kilovolts, so we have to stay stretched out across the full energy spectrum to see them both.
Okay, Owen, we copy. Thanks very much for your report. And we're now receiving downlink television of Experiment 102, the dome portion of that experiment recorded earlier on board. Owen Garriott was the subject for this particular operation, and we're viewing Garriott peering into the dome, and then from the other camera looking at a shot of his eyeball. Space Lab, this is Marshal Operations. We are now receiving our playback data of the split-screen TV-17 setup of the dome run, and the 102 team is absolutely delighted with the image quality. The pupil, the iris of the eye is evidently almost perfectly centered in the split-screen setup, and we're also getting the postural effects at the same time. Also, the 102 people would like to remind you that you are go for using both Byron and Owen as subjects in the FO5 activities whenever you can fit them in today.
Okay, Mike, I'm all done and the stuff's all stowed now. We're also out of electrode kits.
Okay, Byron, thanks very much. Space Lab, this is Marshal Operations for anyone near a DDU. We'd like you to give the 19A ECAS an item 16 enter to toggle into the high sensitivity mode. If you could do that now, please.
Okay, I do show the geometric factor is high right now. I'll give it an item 16, which will probably toggle it to low.
Okay, Owen, we copy. Yeah, try that item 16.
Yeah, I've tried item 16 about 3 or 4 times in the last several minutes, and it remains on my display as high. I am unable to change. Oops, it just now changed to low.
I see. Well, we do have perhaps a little confusion concerning which geometry factor is currently in effect. We'll check back with the 19 people and let you know how that's going. Thanks for trying that toggling for us. By the way, Owen, the TV-17 transmission is excellent. We're receiving that playback now.
Okay, got it.
And Space Lab, this is Marshal Ops for Owen again. Now we recognize where that confusion comes from. The ground has also been commanding item 16. Could you please, Owen, give us one more item 16, which ought to leave us in the high sensitivity mode?
It did, and I should think, I don't see anything saturated, so we probably ought to stay there in high sensitivity without picking up with feedback. scheduled to roll out at 19 in about a few minutes. Do you want to take it out at that time or leave it in any longer?
Stand by, we'll check. And Owen, the metric camera is, of course, now up at the window, but tilted because that safety cover. We're just going to leave the thing up there at the window, making possible time for some future operations. So you don't need to stow that yet during this shift. We may need to stow it next shift or the shift after. We'll let you know on that. And Owen, leave 19.
The whole camera, you mean?
And Owen,
Roger, leave 19 in.
that's affirmative. Continuing to receive pre-recorded downlink television from Space Lab. This of the rotating dome experiment. The subject here is Byron Lichtenberg, and he is wearing a special contact lens with landmarks on it to enable the researchers to study the nystagmus or eye motion. This eye motion created as the eye attempts to track the rotation of the dome. Also visible in the close-up of the eyeball is the reflection of the spots on the dome, visible, being reflected in the subject's eye. And that concludes this downlink of experiment data video collected earlier on the rotating dome experiment. Experiment 102, one of a series of vestibular experiments being carried out during Space Lab 1 mission. Columbia, Houston on air-to-ground 1, no need to answer. We're going to have a late AOS at Dakar due to teleprinter. Dakar is a 2-line station. And Space Lab, Marshal Ops for Byron.
Go ahead, Bill.
Yeah, we've found you some extra electrodes. They're in Romeo 10 Papa. They are the ESA Metatrace EOGs. And the ones in the foil pouches, and they have a little string on them. And they are part of experiment 030, and PI for 030 has consented to let you use them.
Okay, we copy that.
And we're receiving some additional downlink television from Space Lab. This television also of experiment 102, the rotating dome. Byron Lichtenberg as the subject.
And Marshal Ops Space Lab advised the inner cover is on the floor now.
Okay, and we copy, and we thank you so much, Byron. And Owen, we'd like to have you turn off experiment 19 at this time. Space Lab, this is Marshal Operations. You can disregard the Experiment 21 pointing fail message. We're looking into that now, but we do have some confirmation that you're very close. You can also disregard the Experiment 21 command failure.
We're very close to what?
That you're very
disregard 21 Alpha, but...
Yeah, you're very close to the -Z solar attitude that you guys should be at. Space Lab, this is Marshal Operations for anyone who might be available. If any of you guys has a free moment, we'd like you to look out the aft viewport and try and judge whether Experiment 19's cover is open, closed or in an intermediate position. Our data down here makes it look like it's an in-between position, that is to say, not quite fully shut.
Okay, Mike, that's New Orleans, stand by, thanks.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks, listen. Looks like it's closed from here, Mike. It's at least 99 and 44/100% closed.
Real good, Byron. I appreciate you having a look for us. Since we're coming up on the Z-solar, minus Z-solar attitude, the 19 team did get their cover shut, and they just wanted some visual confirmation of that. And we'll tell the 19 team.
Roger. I can't tell if it's really locked or not, but it's over tight. I mean, it's over and, completely obscuring the instruments from the sun.
Okay, we copy. I'll get with 19. And Space Lab Marshal Ops, you're going to get one of those 21 command fail messages about every 3 minutes.
Okay, for how long?
We're looking at it here on the ground, Owen, and as soon as we find the problem, we'll take care of it.
Thank you.
And Space Lab, this is Marshal Ops. For Owen, we'd like you to do an item 1 on display page 21 alpha. Do it twice.
Okay.
And Space Lab, this is Marshal Ops for someone who can copy a quick one. Okay, we're dumping recorder 2 right now to the ground, and we're getting ready to switch to TVO5 before we go over the hill. If we don't get switched back, if we happen to get an LOS early or something, we want you to use recorder 1.
Recorder 1 for 05.
That's affirmative.
We're not set up for TVO5 yet, so we'll go ahead and do it. Just let us, we'll go ahead and turn it on.
Now receiving live downlink television from the orbiter cargo bay of the Space Lab habitable module. This following the pre-recorded science data television of experiment 102, the rotating dome.
No, we don't see anything, but it's still down here.
And Space Lab, we are monitoring now your TV from the payload bay, and it's seeing some beautiful sights again.
Okay, that's good, Bill, and we're just about here with the TV setup.
Okay, we copy. And now receiving live television from aft cargo bay camera. In the field of view is the microwave.
Okay, and anytime you guys want to switch in here, we'll show you some sights of us opening an overhead locker.
Okay, we copy, Byron. And Space Lab, we have live TV. We can see you working overhead.
Well, it's just like the PCTC, Bill. We got a 21A command fail every 3 minutes.
Yep, we copy, Byron. We know it.
Hey, guys notice the overhead lockers, how handy this 201 cage is. Just stick your toes in there. It gets real easy.
Yeah, maybe we'll have to fly that on every mission. Byron Lichtenberg running through a stowage exercise using one of the...
You guys want any more lockers?
One of the overhead stowage lockers.
Okay, here's the other overhead stowage locker. Sorry about that cable.
And we copy that.
Just got a 19A power status message. That's kind of perplexing.
Yeah, we'll look at that.
Houston and Amoka, this is Space Lab, over. Houston Space Lab on near the ground, over.
This is Houston. Go ahead, Owen.
Ryan, on page 7-2 on the activate valve procedure, it asks to check that the sound pressure gauge valve is open and the check vent valve closed. The vent valve is actually in the equalized position at this time, and it also cannot be rotated to closed at this moment.
Roger, we copy. We'll get right back to you. And sorry we don't have any information on the 19 air message. We'll be back with you here in Columbia, Houston, or Space Lab, Houston, for Owen. We're going LOS. We'll have to get to you on this at Rural. And Rural will be at 0313. This is Marshall Space Lab operations at 7 days, 2 hours, 45 minutes mission elapsed time. Loss of signal with Space Lab through the tracking and data relay satellite. Anticipating reacquisition through the Aurora Valley Ground Tracking Station in just under 13 minutes. And during that pass, received some downlink television recorded on board Space Lab earlier. This television of experiment 102, the rotating dome, in which we were able to view not only the subject as he peered into the dome, but also the reaction of his eyes to the motion of the dome. Dome covered with a series of colored spots, and those spots were reflected in the camera, which was documenting the eye motion. Visible was a slight twitching or ocular counter-rotation, as it's officially known, and that motion is the motion of the eye attempting to track the motion of the dome. All of this part of an experiment to look at how man's balance system adapts to the zero-gravity environment and what other cues, other than inner ear cues, are involved in man's ability to maintain his balance both on Earth and perhaps also in space, looking in addition to the inner ear cues, looking at visual cues and also tactile cues. And toward the end of that pass, we received some live television of Byron Lichtenberg demonstrating the operation of the overhead stowage lockers in the module. These are modular lockers that are installed or can be installed depending on the particular requirements of a mission. And they are in addition to other lockers which are installed in the Space Lab experiment racks. This demonstration of locker operation, part of the series of tests, numerous tests that are being conducted during this mission to verify the operation of this space laboratory on its initial flight. This is Marshall Space Lab operations. This is mission control. Columbia out on the low point of its ground track, 57 degrees south latitude. The recent communication between mission control and mission specialist Owen Garriott centering around configuration of the equalization valves in the scientific airlock. Flight controllers are studying Garriott's question about the configuration of those valves. Space Lab is in the hot test attitude, part of the verification flight test requirements to see how it performs under varying thermal conditions, much as the orbiters did on early Space Shuttle flights, putting them in various attitudes relative to the sun and warming certain parts and cooling others and seeing how they respond. We're about 10 minutes away from the next acquisition, which will be through Aurora. That will be a Space Lab communication, no UHF there. Then a brief pass over Hawaii before we pick up the TDRS again in about 38 minutes. This is mission control. This is mission control. Control, 7 days, 2 hours, 51 minutes, mission elapsed time. We are expecting to have a change of shift press conference at approximately 2 p.m. Central Time with the outgoing Flight Director Chuck Lewis, Space Lab Mission Manager Harry Kraft, and Derek Mullinger, head of SPICE. That would take place in the Building 2 press conference room 135 here at the Johnson Space Center. Flight Director Chuck Lewis noted a little earlier that he does not expect to have updated weather information, which would give us a definite yes or no on what the weather is going to be like for entry, either on the nominal end of mission time or the one-day extension. That information he does not plan to have that available until probably late this evening or even tomorrow, as the weather does appear to be a little uncertain out there in the California landing site. This is Mission Control. This is Marshall Space Lab Operations, 7 days, 2 hours, 58 minutes mission elapsed time, standing by for reacquisition of signal with Space Lab through the Aurora Valley Ground Tracking Station. And during this acquisition, we may receive some traffic between Mission Control and either the orbiter or Space Lab. Columbia, Houston, with you at Aurora for 4 minutes. Space Lab Houston on air-to-ground 1 at Aurora for 4 minutes.
Okay, Houston Space Lab, loud and clear.
Roger, Owen, you still have the same problem with the SAL that you did when we left you?
No, if that's any problem, I think that equalizes the position that it was supposed to be left in when it was last repressed.
Okay, stand by.
You were concerned about the LEDs and the heaters. The only heater that is on is the seal flange aft. All of the switches are in auto, but all of the LEDs are out except for seal flange aft, and that LED is remaining illuminated.
Roger, copy that.
Since those all appeared normal, I've gone ahead and completed the 2 VFT steps for hot test.
Space Lab Houston.
Brian?
Roger, Owen, equalized position is okay for now. When you're ready to depress the SAL, we'd like you to pick up with the next step on page 7-4, vent valve to closed. Press on with that procedure before you depress the SAL.
Houston, are there any other procedures or temperatures or parameters that you want read out or changed on pages 7-2 and 7-3 on the Activate SAL? If that all looks okay to me, and I'm ready to go ahead with a depress if you are.
Roger, Owen, we'd like to verify what page you were on when you equalized the vent valve.
I didn't equalize it. That's the way I found it when you asked me to take a look. When you asked me to look at page 7-2 and to pick up on Activate SAL page 7-2. And I presume it was left in the equalized position last time the hatch or the SAL was pressurized on the redshift. I presume that was when it was done.
Roger, and reference page 7-11 procedure for the depress.
This is Mission Control Houston. That air-to-ground 1 pass-through Yargity was dominated by the Mission Control Center here in Houston as they kind of walk through procedures with Mission Specialist Owen Garriott on depressurizing the scientific airlock in advance of deploying the experiment table for some hot testing while the payload bay is in an extreme thermal attitude for this period. There doesn't appear to be anything anomalous associated with it. It was more a procedural verification. We'll get air to ground again in 10 minutes through Hawaii. A very brief pass of 3 minutes duration at a fairly low elevation of about 4 degrees over the horizon. Mission elapsed time, 7 days, 3 hours, 7 minutes. This is Mission Control Houston. This is Mission Control Houston. We're a little more than 10 minutes away from the next television downlink. There'll be a live downlink of the Space Lab pallet being viewed at the aft end of the laboratory at mission elapsed time 7 days, 3 hours, 27 minutes through the tracking station at Goldstone. Or, stand by a second. That downlink will be through the teeter system. It'll occur Central Time at 1:27 this afternoon. It'll be AOS through Hawaii in about 3.5 minutes. And that TV downlink again is going to occur at mission elapsed time 7 days, 3 hours, 27 minutes. Mission elapsed time presently 7 days, 3 hours, 14 minutes. This is Mission Control Houston.
This is Marshall Space Lab operations. It's 7 days, 3 hours, 17 minutes mission elapsed time. Standing by now for reacquisition of signal through the Hawaii ground tracking station in under half a minute. And during this acquisition of signal on board Space Lab, Byron Lichtenberg scheduled to be doing some television camera setup in the module. And Owen Garriott scheduled to be continuing with verification flight test activities, these involving the scientific airlock. For these activities for the hot test of Space Lab now underway.
This is Mission Control Houston. No air-to-ground occurred on air-to-ground 1 during that Hawaii pass. That was only a pass of 2 minutes in duration. The change of shift briefing with the lead flight director, Chuck Lewis, will occur at 2 o'clock Central Standard Time in the Johnson Spacecraft, Eb Johnson Space Center Newsroom, Building 2, Room 135. The panel of that change of shift briefing will include Chuck Lewis, the lead flight director, Harry Kraft, mission manager for Space Lab 1, and Derek Mullinger, head of SPICE. That again occurs at 2 o'clock local time. Moreover, there will be a satellite playback at 3:55 p.m. Central Time this afternoon, showing the conversation between Wolf Merbold, payload specialist, and a German science minister, and the European pass, which occurred earlier this morning. That satellite playback again, or that playback will occur at 3:55 Central Time. We'll have acquisition of signal in 4 minutes through the teeter system at mission elapsed time 7 days, 3 hours, 23 minutes. This is Mission Control Houston.
This is Marshall Space Lab operations. 7 days, 3 hours, 27 minutes mission elapsed time. Standing by now for reacquisition of signal with the tracking and data relay satellite. Space Lab and the orbiter begin the ascending node of orbit number 116. During this path, we're anticipating a live downlink television between of payload specialist Byron Lichtenberg, providing an out-the-window tour of experiments that have been operating out on the Space Lab pallet just aft of the habitable module. And if you have a 19A experiment power status 40 message, please ignore. We got that a long time ago, Bill, and we ignored it. The power's off. Okay, that's great. And Owen, you probably got Brewster's message through Capcom that we need Owen to do the switching on TV 29.
And we do have... I wasn't sure what you wanted. You mean to switch back and forth from between the two cameras? When we want you to sort of choreograph this, we want you to show Byron going up to the window on camera 1, and then when he puts his camera and points it out the window, we want you to turn on camera 2. Okay. We have poor command this pass through K-band, so ENCO is unable to help us. Okay, Bill. And when you go LOS, we need you to turn on tape recorder 1. Recorder 1, huh? That's affirmative. Not going LOS for another 20 minutes. No. And Marshall, Space, do you guys have live video now?
We're not getting live video yet, Byron, but we did expect to get it.
We would like you to turn on recorder number 1. Turn it on? That is when you're ready for TV 29. Okay, so you say you don't think you're going to have live video, is that right? About 50-50. Okay. Okay, well listen, we'll wait a few minutes to see if you guys get any live TV, and if you don't, then we'll just take our time and do it on the tape. That sounds great, Byron. Great suggestion. Okay, and comment for the 21 people. We've been getting that command fail message and confirm the shutter. The right shutter stuck closed, so we followed the mal procedure on that one, and when I looked up the second timeline, Sierra 21 Mike 02, realized that you guys had either put it in Charlie or it was already there. So what we're trying to do is going to run Rad State to sequence Charlie instead of Bravo, right? And that's right, Byron. Okay. And Byron, we have a little fix for those command fail errors on 21A if you're ready to copy. Okay, go ahead. Okay, go to display page 2, 1 alpha. Got it. Do an item 54, space 4. And follow that with an item 55, and that should take care of that. Okay, but you know that the shutter really is closed. Yeah, we copy that the shutter really is closed. Okay, what I did was to modify Sierra 21 Mike 01 to have a sequence of Charlie, and I counted a Charlie 03, but CAS is in a wait state right now. I'm still showing sequence Bravo. The rad state is 9, which is encouraging, but I haven't seen it switch to 5 yet. Okay, we copy, and the 21 PI is looking at that. Okay.
Space Lab, this is Marshall Ops for Byron. We're not presently receiving KU band data, although we expect to get it soon. And the 21 team says, just stand by with that condition on experiment 21. There's going to be lots of time during this hot test in order to get the equipment up and working.
Okay. Houston in the Mocha from Space Lab, question for you, Brian.
Space Lab, Houston, go ahead.
You referred me earlier to pages 7-2 on Activate Sal. How much of that did you want me to complete? I've checked all the gauges and temperatures, and I've also enabled those alerts. Was there anything else that you wanted me to do on page 7-2 and 7-3 before venting the Sal and extending the space?
Stand by. Space Lab, Houston, Owen, you're in good shape. You don't have to do anything else on page 7-2 or 3.
Okay, I've got the door open right now, and I'm ready to crank the table out.
Roger.
Houston, I've got the door open, but the table extension seems to me too difficult, and I don't want to put any more torque on this table drive handle until I check to make sure that there's nothing that's constraining that table from rolling on out the way it should. So I'm going to have to delay the table extension for a while.
Roger, we copy.
Marshall, Space, do you guys have any live video yet?
No, we don't, and this pass is going to run to 4 plus 17, Byron, so y'all can hold off, and maybe we may get some good data this pass. We sure would appreciate it.
We'll just stand by here. One's got to check on some SAL stuff, and he needs to get that out for the SAL VFT-10 test, so...
Okay, while we got a second here of breathing room, we did pass up a one-page teleprinter message number 116, and what it has to do is the configuration of experiments 2 and 3 during the hot test.
There we got it.
Okay, there are some errors on that page, and we will read those up to you a little bit later. We do not want you to implement this particular TPR until we tell you.
Okay, Bill. While I've got you here, let me ask the 21 people. I took a look at the timelines, and the timelines account in through cycle between 8 and 9, give 5 and 9. The rad state here stays in a 9, and my ECAS is in a wait state, wait 830. And I wonder if they want me to give an item 5 to see if that left shutter is going to come open.
And they're scratching their head here for a second.
Okay, but I think I should be an after this gate 30 and not a wait 830.
I'll repeat.
Yeah, I said I think I should be.
Okay, you're dropping out, Byron.
Okay, stand by, Zach. Owen's got some stuff for the Mocha.
Okay.
Houston Space Lab.
Roger, go ahead, Space Lab.
Roger, I just checked with the redshift, and it turns out when the table was retracted with the experiment earlier, it was configured for return, and the launch locks were put in place. Therefore, I can't crank the table out at this time, and what I'll have to do is to repress, open it up, remove the launch locks if you want it out for the hot test. The other alternative would just be to modify the flight plan and leave it inside for this hot test period. So I'll stand by for your call on that.
And we copy the RAL skip. We copy the RAL skip message and the Pickamoo message. And Space Lab, be advised, we'll take care of those last 4 error messages.
Break, Owen from Houston, we'd like you to close the outer hatch and lock the outer hatch, and then we'll talk to you about it a little later.
Okay, Marshall. Bill, I've got the message 116. If you want to go ahead with your corrections to it, over.
Yes, if you turn to look at the first paragraph, after PCF item 9-69er,
We have KU band.
Let's disregard, Byron. We now have live TV, and we're looking at you on TV now, Byron.
You're looking at Owen. Wait a couple of minutes here until he gets the outer hatch closed, and then we'll start the TV-29 here.
Okay, we copy.
Real good, Byron. Now we copy that. Maybe we could read up the few corrections to message 116 while you're waiting.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, after that PCF entry, we want to add an item 10, space 0, enter.
Okay.
Okay, 2 lines below that where it says system switch manual, and that should read iris.
Okay, we understand that.
Okay, and paragraph 2, at the end of the line it says 020 Tango. That should read 02 Delta Tango dash 13.
Okay.
And those are all the corrections we have, Byron.
Okay, that's right, we got them.
Now receiving live downlink television from the spacecraft.
Okay, Bill, we're closing the outer hatch now, so it'll be just a couple more minutes.
Owen Garriott cranking the outer hatch. We copy that. And Space Lab, be advised that we've put together a brand new, and we hope effective, MSDR procedure for after TV-29. We'll be voicing it up to you.
Okay. And Mike, I've got a couple of suggestions to make here. Rather than add on, I hate to say this, rather than add on some additional FOs for the 102 FO5 and FO4 and things, I think we ought to spend some more time on the fluid physics module and the MSDR.
We agree, and Capcom gets there to ground 1.
Houston, that's complete. The tower's back in lock.
Roger, on, we copy that. And Brewster on air to ground 1.
Go ahead, Brian.
Roger, we're going to try to get teleprinter up at Dakar here, so since it's a 2-line station, we will not talk to you right away on UHF. We'll give you a call after the teleprinter.
Okay, fine.
And we're going to send up a vector also at Dakar. You'll see that uplink light.
Okay. 16A power status, Marshal.
Yeah, we copy that 16A power status message and also another row skip 21, Byron. We're going to take care of those if we possibly can. Thank you. And we can also confirm that we have the SAL outer hatch closed and locked.
Okay, very good. Everybody ready for TV-29?
You bet we are.
Okay, do you guys have command capability for switching the cameras?
That's affirmative.
Okay, very good. Well, we'll go ahead and start our tour of the pallet here. First, we'll take a look at a wide view of the orbiter. You can see the tail of the 2 Ohms pods. Unfortunately, it's pretty dark down there, and it's pretty tough to see what's happening back in the Earth. We're in the wrong part of the orbit.
Can you point the camera down a little bit more, Byron? That's it.
Okay, I'll just give you the tail first.
And, Byron...
Okay, first,
Go ahead.
Okay, I was going to say the first instrument that we'll take a look at is the Imaging Spectrophometric Observatory. As you can see in the picture, one of the doors to the spectrometer is open, so it's actually either looking at air glow or looking at deep space or the sun. And this instrument comes from Dr. Marcia Torr from the University of Utah in Utah. Going to move over next to show an instrument next to it if I can get over here. The large box doesn't look too imposing, but it's the home of a device called the Magnetoplasma Dynamic Arc Jet, which is people in Tokyo, Japan, under the principal investigatorship of Dr. Obayashi. Upper atmosphere, and we can use other experiments or other equipment on the pallet to take a look at the effects of this arc jet
the stream of ions and the interaction of this ion beam in the upper atmosphere. To swing down a little bit and look at the next instrument, which is also an upper atmospheric observation instrument, and I'm going to have to zoom out a little bit to see it. Okay, the instrument we're looking at now is the atmospheric emissions photometric imaging experiment from Dr. Steve Mendy from Lockheed in Palo Alto, California. And this is basically a low light level television camera with very sophisticated filters and devices on it to record the aurora borealis, the northern lights. We've been doing a lot of work looking at this, looking at the Earth's atmosphere along the horizon, along the limb of the Earth.
And disregard the error messages on 16 and 19.
Okay.
And Space Lab, this is Marshall Ops. Your photography is terrific. We're getting excellent views and a very nice description of each experiment, Byron.
Okay, very good. It's pretty difficult to hold this with one hand because I have to keep pushing my transmit button, but I'll do the best I can. The small black device you see here is the only part of an experiment coming from France called PICPAB that is currently visible. This is another experiment looking at the interaction of the Earth's magnetic field, the upper atmosphere, and beams of ions or electrons that we've injected into the upper atmosphere. This is one of the instruments to record some of the observations that, or some of the phenomena that occur in the upper atmosphere as we inject these beams down the magnetic field lines. Okay, the small flat plate object that we see about in the center of the screen is the cover of the O23 experiment, which is an X-ray. It's an X-ray astronomy experiment, and it's very difficult to see now. We're right at the bottom of the viewport window. I'll slowly swing over to the left, and we'll only be able to observe a few small items here on the left side of the palette. The large white box that you see at the far end of the palette is the Induced Environmental Contamination Monitor, which is a variety of devices to look at the environment around the Space Shuttle, either induced by off-gassing, that is particles that come from the Space Shuttle itself, or looking for various phenomena in the near field of the Space Shuttle. The small probe that you see sticking up just in front of the IECM is part of the CPAC experiment, another experiment that is involved with measuring the interaction of electron and ion beams with the Earth's upper magnetic fields and the upper atmosphere. And finally, about the last thing we'll be able to see out of the payload bay is not very distinct. I'll zoom the camera back in a minute, but it is the antenna to the microwave scatterometer. Let me zoom back out a second. The white, somewhat hemispherical shaped object here in the foreground is the antenna to the O34 microwave scatterometer device, which is used to measure various phenomena within the oceans and also the Earth, especially Europe. And this device was built in Germany, and it is used primarily to observe portions of the Earth that are generally cloud covered, such as Europe, and to make reasonably detailed and reasonably high-resolution maps of the areas to look for things like crop usage, crop growth, land usage, and what have you. I'm now going to swing back slowly to the tail, and we'll just get one last view of the palette here before we'll end our tour of the palette. It's very difficult with the sun coming in to give a constant exposure, and the television camera is having somewhat of a trouble.
Space Lab, this is Marshall Operations. Byron, that was a terrific presentation. Went very smoothly and has outstanding photography.
Hey, very good, Mike. Well, we thank you. And we'll back down and do whatever we can to get these solar experiments back in shape.
When you get that camera stowed, we have a few things that the 21 team would like you to do for them. Just a few keystrokes at the DDU.
Okay. Okay, we're standing by the DDU, Mike.
Real good, Byron. The first thing I'd like you to do is to remove the timeline Sierra 21 Charlie, which is presently resident in the experiment computer memory.
Okay, there are no 21 timelines in memory.
Aha, that may be part of the problem. Thank you very much, Byron. The next thing that the 21 would like you to do is to call it the 21 display, 21 alpha, and give it an item 1 to cycle the power to off. Now receiving a live picture from outside.
Okay, Mike, that's complete.
The habitable module. Okay, and the third thing I want you to do here is to give it another item 1 to see if then the power comes on. Oscar Nancy.
Roger, it is on, Oscar Nancy.
I see. Okay, thank you. I'm going to check with 21 because something sounds a little off nominally.
Okay, let me tell you what we have now. We have a sequence Charlie, rad state 9, but the left shutter is now open.
Okay, thank you very much. Space Lab, this is Marshal Ops for Byron again.
Go ahead.
Yeah, do you confirm that the only STL that's presently resident is Sierra 9er Tango 00 counting at step 9er?
Yes, I confirm that.
Okay, so we're getting reasonable data down here, and there seems to be a little problem with the 21. Could you just stand by on 21 until we figured out a game plan, please? Thank you.
Okay, and you saw the latest one, which is a right resistance out of limit.
Yeah, we've just logged that one in. Message 09er. Space Lab, Marshal Ops again, for Byron. The 21 team would like you to give it another item 1 and see if the power goes off. Oscar, Foxtrot, Foxtrot.
Roger, it does, Mike. Power goes off.
Yep, okay. We confirm that down here, too. The idea was to reinitialize the hardware again. Now that we've both confirmed that it's off, could you give it another item 1, Oscar Nancy? Make sure it goes back on and see what condition the thing comes up in.
Okay, it comes up back on.
Okay, we confirm it back on, and we're showing rad state 5.
That's a negative. I show rad state 9er.
Oh, okay.
Just about to switch. Well, wait a minute. Maybe it's just switched.
Thank you very much.
Okay, I just showed the left shutter came closed, which would confirm rad state 5, but the ECAS shows the rad state 9er.
Well, Byron, we're as puzzled as you, and I'm going to let the 21 team absorb these facts for a little while, come up with a plan for working around whatever's going on.
Okay, is it nominal for the ECAS to be in a wait state here?
Stand by, Byron, I'll find out. Yeah, that's affirmative. Evidently, it ought to be in a wait state right now.
Okay. So is that a cluster firing? Marshal Ops, Space Lab.
Yeah, go ahead, Byron.
Okay, Mike, I just want to, while we're waiting here for 21, give you an idea of what's been going on with the fluid physics module. Over.
Okay, we have some paper here indicating that a forthcoming FPM run after your lunch involves an experiment that Mike Haynes has devised, in which he expects you to take the little 3-ball assembly out of stowage and do some experiments filling it up with oil, not using the module itself, just sort of a free-floating fluid physics experiment. Only we haven't seen the details of that yet. So I guess I can't really brief you on it, although this would be the perfect time to discuss the details. We'll see if we can round up Mike Haynes and have him brief you.
Okay, well, that's kind of confusing because on our replan request on message number 115 Alpha, I see I'm supposed to be doing a 328 run, which I believe is Luigi, at 4 hours 45 minutes to 6 hours 10 minutes. But before we talk about that, Wolf had Mike Haynes' experiment in the fluid physics module, and we had that power down problem. We were finally able to unscrew it and bring it out, and we now have the the 3 ping pong balls here in the module with the syringe, but be advised that the syringe does have an air bubble in it. We've been able to get most of it out, but there's still some air left in it.
Yeah, okay, Byron, we copy. Now, the run that we had originally assigned to Luigi, he's backed down on that and decided that Mike ought to get that run, so that explains this last-minute substitution of investigators. I don't know what to do about that bubble. I'm sure Mike might have some suggestions as to how to handle that. I think what he'd like to do is just a fairly simple capillarity run with his a little 3 ping pong balls module removed from the FPM. But I'd rather that he discuss those plans with you, and we're going to round him up right away. And Space Lab, this is Marshall Operations. We still have you for about 3 minutes, and I'm sorry, we still have you for about 10 minutes. And although Mike Haynes is only on his way over here now, I could read up to you the procedure that's going to bring down the MSDR and power it back up, if you're ready to copy these steps.
Okay.
Great. The first step is to go to the power supply panel of the MSDR and switch off the motors supply and switch off the relays supply. The second step, you can do that now if you like, or you can write these down. The second step,
Done.
Thank you. The second step is to perform MSDR setup procedures according to Foxtrot 100-6. The steps you'll need are 3.8 through 4.11. The third item is to go to the CCO and key in the following keystrokes, which I'll read to you now. Open 057370, verify 000000, close 000010, open 043004, verify 103006, close 000240, open 043006, verify 077227, close 000240. When you've done that, the next thing is to perform the VGS setup according to Foxtrot 100-8. When you've done that, step 5 is to wait for the VGS ops light on. And the sixth step is to go to the CCO and enter the following keystrokes, because at this point you'll be ready to configure the MHF for operations with sample 321. We're getting the furnace set up to get you a silicon rod run. Are you ready to copy these keystrokes?
Yes, go ahead.
Real good, Byron. They're as follows. Open 046062. Verify 000261. Close 000240. Open 046064. Verify 000207. Close 000240. Open 050442. Verify 000600. Close 007777. Open 050510. Verify 000714. Close 007777. We're almost done. The next step is to open 051660. verify 040000, and close 100000. At this point, the CCO ought to be configured for operations with sample 321 silicon rod experiments. And at this point, what you ought to have is a VGS ops light on. It may take a little bit of time to become fully operational, but this is the next step. Yes, okay. We also have a message. Okay. We have a messenger not to start 321 until further notice, but let me just complete these steps to get you all the way down to that point. When you have the VGS ops light on, go to the CCO and key in start, MHF, enter, and that should initiate its travel towards the load-unload point. You may also at that time key in start, cry, 3, enter, which will cause a cryostat to resume its activity. And the final step is to swap out the sample 323 and install 321A, which is your first of your silicon rod experiments. That sample, we believe, is stowed in Lima 8 Echo, and your procedure page is 321-A24. That'll help get this silicon experiment back on the track.
Okay, Mike, we copy that. I'll be in work here. Mike, we started on step 3.8 here and on step 3.9 now, waiting 7 minutes.
We copy, Byron.
About to go LOS here, I guess, a couple minutes.
Space Lab, this is Houston. On air to ground 1. We have an answer for Owen on the south, if you're ready to copy.
Okay, go ahead, Mary.
Roger, Owen. Since you did say that you had the launch locks in place, we would like you to go ahead and repress at this time. Or
Okay, that means you'll leave it inside, or have you decided yet whether or not you want to then take them out and extend it again?
Roger, Owen. We haven't decided that yet. We're still going to talk about it.
Fine, I'll go repress now.
And for Byron, you're about 3 minutes to LOS, and we're going to move back to the CICs.
Okay, thank you, Mary.
Space Lab, ESA 21.
Go ahead, ESA 21, Space Lab here.
Byron, I'd like you to go to 21 Mal 4 in the PFDF for 21.
Okay, Graham, I've got it.
Okay, at step 2, can you consider the situation that we have the left shutter stuck closed and perform the step 2 operations?
Yeah, I could do that, but it's really the right shutter that's stuck closed, not the left one.
Well, we're indicating the left one is.
The left one opened up the last... It opened a few minutes ago here. I think the problem is getting the right rad state.
Yeah, the PI would like to go to state 610, which uses this sequence D.
I know, you've been in 610 and it was cycling back and forth in the ECAS and the right shutter was stuck closed.
Can we do that, Byron? Go to step D, step 2, and use sequence D.
Okay, I missed it, Graham. You're broken up. Say again, please.
Just to repeat, can we try that step 2 and set those treat the case as the left stuck closed, and set the sequences to D instead of C.
You say Bravo or Delta?
Delta.
Okay, copy. Wilco.
Thank you, Byron.
Voice of Graham Bidis, European Space Agency engineer, representing experiment 21, one of the solar physics experiments.
And Space Lab, we have you for about 20 more seconds. We'll see you at Guam at 4+40.
Okay.
This is Marshall Space Lab operations. 7 days, 4 hours, 18 minutes mission elapsed time. Loss of signal through the tracking and data relay satellite. During the last acquisition of signal, we received some downlink television, a tour of the Space Lab pallet through the aft viewport of the habitable module. That tour, guided by payload specialist Byron Lichtenberg, provided the description of portions of various experiments mounted out on the pallet that were visible through the relatively small viewport window. Additionally, the crew was provided with a procedure to work around some difficulties that have been experienced with the vacuum gas system of the material science double rack. That system used to draw a vacuum on 3 of the instruments, facilities actually, in that double rack series of experiment apparatus. The problem, apparently, according to the engineering team here in the Payload Operations Control Center, a faulty switch that controls one of the sensors, and they've been working to develop a software patch around to correct that problem. Following that operation, Lichtenberg was asked to bring the material science double rack back online and set up experiment 321 in the 321 is an experiment that will use the mirror heating facility. So he was asked to set that up in the mirror heating facility. However, not to start it at this time because the science team wants to document that experiment activity on camera. That experiment is a floating zone growth of silicon experiment. Additionally, during the last few minutes of that pass, European Space Agency engineer Graham Bittis, a representative of ESA Experiment 21, one of 3 solar physics experiments being conducted on this mission, provided some troubleshooting guidance for an apparent stuck shutter on that experiment. That's an experiment that is designed to measure the solar constant, hopefully the absolute value of the constant with improved accuracy. And also that instrument is designed to look at and measure short-term variations in the solar constant. The instrument is provided by Belgium, and principal investigator for that instrument is Dr. Dominique Homelink. Next acquisition of signal is through Yargity, and therefore we anticipate no communications between the Payload Control Center and the payload crew on board Space Lab, as it is a UHF pass only. Our next communication should be on orbit 116 at the Guam Ground Tracking Station in approximately 18 minutes. 7 days, 4 hours, 22 minutes mission elapsed time. This is Marshall Space Lab operations.
This is Mission Control Houston. Mission audio is configured to pick up the UHF pass over Yargity here. Acquisition in about a minute. Yargity is UHF only. There will be no Skylab, Space Lab, air to ground. So we'll listen to the flight crew talk to the Mission Control Center here. During the recent UHF passes, there have been principally just tag-ups with the crew to affirm communications capability. And at one point, Columbia pilot Brewster Shaw reported that he heard some bangs and creaks and groans in the orbiter, which he has attributed to the thermal heating of the fuselage with the orbiter in a top sun attitude that does absorb substantially more heat to the airframe than when the thermal protection system is exposed to sunlight. We'll have voice momentarily at 7 days, 4 hours, 26 minutes. This is Mission Control Houston.
Columbia, this is Houston with a crew. You're ready for 5 minutes.
I'm clear, Mary.
You too, Brewster.
And we did receive the page 3 through 5 of that message, and we're in the process of looking at it.
Okay, sounds good. We're here to answer any questions. In Columbia, Houston, got your numbers for the TIG. Predicted for Rev 161 and a deorbit TIG time of 9:23:03. Your orbit is predicted to be 124 by 130, but that's all based on average maneuvers.
Okay, Rev 161 is the TIG Rev. 9 days, 23 hours, 3 minutes, and 124 by 130. Gotcha.
Good readback.
Thank you. Mary?
Go ahead, Brewster.
Right off the bat, something catches our eye. You have the handover tomorrow morning from the red to the blue shift at 8 days and 0 hours. And our current cap shows it at 7 days, 22 hours. Where did the extra 2 hours come, and what are people supposed to do in those extra 2 hours?
Okay, we'll check on that for you. Columbia, this is Houston. Brewster would like you to verify that you have the FU port in the back closed, and that's back in Space Lab.
Now you broke up. Say again, please.
Brewster, we'd like verification that the FU port back in Space Lab is closed for 5 seconds LOS. We'll talk to you again through Guam at 4:40.
Okay, we'll check on it. Thank you.
Mission Control Houston, we've lost signal through Yargity. Topics of discussion during that pass were the uplinked proposal for the additional day of the extension day of the flight, and the apparent disappearance of, or the appearance of 2 extra hours in the crew activity plan that are unscheduled as to activities. And the TIG time of ignition for the deorbit burn is reported as being 9 days, 23 hours, and 3 minutes mission elapsed time. That would occur on Rev 161. That TIG time again. Mission elapsed time 9:23:03. That's based on average maneuvers between now and that time, and of course is certainly subject to some change and fine-tuning as that time approaches. The capsule communicator also asked Brewster Shaw to ensure that the FU port is closed. That was the port through which the downlink TV photography by the Space Lab crew was affected. And for thermal conditions, particularly when the vehicle's in a top sun attitude such as it is now, they keep that window closed just to prevent heating inside the cabin or inside the Space Lab. So Shaw will be assuring that that window is closed in the back of the Space Lab. We'll acquire signal again in 6 minutes through Guam. We'll reconfigure for Space Lab radiogram for that pass. Mission elapsed time is presently 7 days, 4 hours, 34 minutes. This is Mission Control Houston.
This is Marshall Space Lab Operations. 7 days, 4 hours, 38 minutes mission elapsed time. standing by now for reacquisition of signal through the Guam ground tracking station in just about a minute. Space Lab on orbit 116. During this pass, we anticipate that Dr. Mike Haynes, one of the investigators on the fluid physics module, will be communicating with the crew. And this in regard to an experiment that he has been developing. Experiment that may not require, however, while it being a fluid physics experiment, may not require the use of the module for its operation. And Space Lab, this is Marshall Ops. We have you for 5 minutes through Guam.
Good, Bill, got you loud and clear.
And Mike Haynes is here to discuss with you his next operation.
Space Lab Byron, Mike Haynes.
All right, please, loud and clear.
That's fine. Now, I overheard Mike Lampton telling you our intentions about 339, which is to attempt to run that capillarity experiment outside the FBN. And I also heard your remark that there's an air bubble in the syringe. I think we can cope with that. We've sent you a crew note on this, but it evidently hasn't got through the system down here. So I'll just briefly run through the procedure. You may need a notepad.
Okay.
You have a notepad?
Wait 1 second, please.
Okay, the first step is to either try to expel air from the syringe, or if that is not possible in 0G, maybe you can induce an artificial G and get the bubble up to the plunger end of the barrel, get it remote from the hole, and then it probably won't matter. The next step is to take the sphere assembly, which may still be attached to plate A. If it isn't, then you should attach it to plate A, and manually thread the syringe barrel into the sphere assembly, into the hole that takes it.
Hey, go ahead.
Okay, the next thing is to attempt to Velcro or otherwise fix the assembly in any convenient position where you can view it in profile along the spheres with backlighting and with some suitable means of recording, either camera and or VTR. I don't know what you've got available.
Oh, you got 16mm and VTR. It depends on which thing will give you better resolution. Probably 16mm, but the problem is checking the exposure.
Yeah, that's correct, but would certainly give better definition, and I think we can accept some latitude and exposure for the sake of getting some pictures. We shall only need single shots.
Okay.
And you should ensure that the field of view includes not only all 4 spheres in the assembly, but also the inner end of the syringe plunger. I need to know where the plunger in the syringe is at each step. Okay?
Okay.
Space Lab, this is Houston on air-to-ground 1.
Lab, go ahead.
Roger, for Owen, about repressing the cell. We see it's repressed now. We'd like to go ahead and open up the inner hatch and then retract it to the module and remove those launch lock pins. We'd like to get it re-extended during the hot test.
Be fine. I'll just continue with all the procedures until I can get it back re-extended and the after U-port is closed.
Okay, thanks. We copy that, and we'll give you back to the guys in the back.
Okay, Byron, and then after that, you'd simply proceed in the normal way. The objective is still the same, to go 2 or more times around that hysteresis loop and to locate precisely both of the irreversible spontaneous jumps of the meniscus. But what you're going to need, of course, is a great deal of manual dexterity. I'm sure you've got it. Just to manually move the syringe plunger, first of all, inwards in a series of small steps, something of the order of 1 millimeter, I suggest, and then having gone up one side of the loop, to then withdraw in similar small steps, and I suggest you go around at least twice.
Okay, I understand. The problem we have is that the glaze does not seem to have very much oil left in it, Mike.
Okay, I would guess you will need something like 5 cubic centimeters, but work with what you've got.
Yeah, I'd say.
Or alternatively, if you wanted to refill the syringe, which might be a tricky operation, and I wouldn't recommend it, but of course there is 5 centi-Stokes oil available to you.
Okay, which oil do you use?
5 centi-Stokes silicone oil, with or without traces, no matter.
Okay, I copy that.
Okay, now that's great, and if you get a chance to get on with that during the LOS, then I'll wait for an update the next time we hear from you. Thanks very much indeed. Have good luck.
Hey, thank you, Mike. We'll keep you informed.
Yes.
Quick MSCR update. The TMD run-up is on, and things are looking good. All the initial open closes are verified, Mike.
Hey, terrific. That's very good news, Byron.
The status side, though, for Experiment 21, DCAS does not seem to be responding to any timeline commands. It seems to be stuck in rad state number 9.
We copy rad states number 9 for Experiment 21.
And we'll see you in 15 minutes through S-band, and the data may be a little bit ratty.
All right.
This is Marshall Space Lab Operations at 7 days, 4 hours, 45 minutes mission elapsed time. A loss of signal through the Guam ground tracking station.
Byron, Mike, one more time. If this turns out to be successful, then we have one further small task for you to do.
Mike, we're LOS.
Okay, didn't realize.
And during that pass through Guam, much of the activity was with the fluid physics module. Byron Lichtenberg on orbit working with Dr. Mike Haynes here in the Payload Operations Control Center to conduct an experiment that he has been developing. This is an experiment, or at least a modification to an experiment that had originally been designed for the mission. It's one that has been kind of evolving here in the Payload Control Center over the past couple of days. Demonstration of the flexibility of Space Lab and of having scientists and representatives of a scientific group of investigators in orbit and able to work via a long-distance relationship with their colleagues here on the ground. 13 and a half minutes remaining before reacquisition of signal at 7 days, 4 hours, 47 minutes mission elapsed time. This is Marshall Space Lab Operations. This is Marshall Space Lab Operations. 7 days, 5 hours mission elapsed time. Standing by now for reacquisition of signal through the tracking and data relay satellite. This will be a 49-minute pass, and been reported that we may not acquire right on time.
And Space Lab, this is Marshall Ops. We've got you at Bermuda for about 7 minutes. And Space Lab, this is Marshall Ops. We have you for 7 minutes through Bermuda.
Hey, Billy.
And we got some traffic for Owen when he has a chance.
Yeah, I've got a minute here before I have to go look at the cell again.
Okay, we'd like for you to do message number 116. That's for experiments 2 and 3. That's for prep for the hot test.
Yeah, I think we got it up there. Is there, I'll take a look at it in just a moment. I've already looked at it, but not recently.
And Byron, we have Mike Haynes enabled.
Yes, Roger.
Okay, Byron, I just wondered whether you had any comments so far on the 339 trial.
He's got his hands full of silicon oil and spoons and quite a few other items.
I can understand.
Still working on trying to get fluid in this little syringe, Mike.
Is the air bubble the problem?
Looks like he's got some there.
Okay, Owen, will you understand we're just relying on your improvisatory skills.
Okay, Marshall, Space 5 here for the, Mike Haynes. Mike, I've got a syringe of about 5 milliliters of, your 5 centistoke fluid, and I'm about to try and put it into your other syringe because it seems like we've lost all our oil out of there.
Okay, I understand you're filling one syringe from another. That's a good idea.
It's the only one I can think of. You should have pulled out your STS-9 procedure.
That's just about what we're following.
And Space Lab, this is Marshall Ops. Wonder what the status of the MSDR facility is.
It's all up and running, Mike. Everything looks good, and the MHF is ready for me to change the sample out.
Fantastic. That's very good news, Byron. Sometime when you have your hands clean and have a chance to do it, your go for exchanging the MHF samples and starting number 321. That'd be particularly useful if you could get that done somehow before 7 hours. Because if you do, it's pumping down and baking out will be complete in time for some real-time TV downlink of the silicon sample melt, which of course we'd all be excited to see. Also, you're cautioned that if you can't get it done by 7 days, 7 hours, you may as well just hold off on that till a little later when we'll try and arrange some downlink for it.
I think we get it before 7 hours. Won't be able to do it for a while, though.
I understand. Thanks a lot for your help, Byron. That's real good news.
Byron, Mike Haynes, if I can just have a word with you, doesn't require a reply. What we had in mind for a follow-up to this, if you have time within this 1 hour time slot, would be to use the little plastic disc on the end of the plunger of my syringe, the one that you've just filled. It's held in by a small brass screw, and it has an undercut edge, and it would probably make quite a good end plate, a 30mm end plate, for the FPM cylindrical zone experiment.
Mike, I'm sorry I didn't copy any of that. I'm in the middle of trying to transfer fluid here. Stand by, please. Okay, a quick update for Mike Haynes here. We've got some fluid in here, Mike, but we still have there's still a bubble in the syringe. It's really difficult to work with. I've got the apparatus together, and we'll go try and set up a light now and a camera and see what we can do.
Okay, I think the best thing is to go with the bubble. We can live with it. Good luck with the photography. I know quite a few people will be very pleased to have seen my balls in orbit.
Okay.
And Space Lab Marshall Ops for Owen.
Good, Bill.
Yeah, you probably haven't started on that message 116 yet, but we need for you to make sure that you check that the CPAC dep is opt before you start into the procedure. That's Oscar Papa.
Okay, I'll do that, make sure it's opt, and no, I hadn't started because the cell is just about down to the point where I can extend the table again. I'll finish that and then go ahead with these two.
Okay, we understand, Owen, and we'll be monitoring what you're doing down here on the ground. We got good data.
The 19A drill and power status message, in addition to all those route skip messages, Bill, you're probably reading them just as fast as we are.
Yeah, and we're working those, Owen.
We see them, Owen. Gosh. We also have a message from the Experiment 21 group that if and when you get a chance, they would also like to know if their item 17 is enabled. They hope it's enabled so that their ECAS can be driven by their STL.
Bye. 17 sequence load reach inhibit.
Okay, could you please toggle that to enable?
Please.
Thank you very much, Owen.
Houston in the Mocha from Space Lab. We're ready to begin the outer hatch extension here again.
Say again, Owen.
I wanted to let you know we're up to the opening of the outer hatch and extension of the table again.
And you gotta go for that, Owen.
Okay, Booster, we're down here at Owen's. Don't lock it. Okay, Booster, here he comes. Okay, open, Booster, and the table will be coming out shortly. Okay, here comes the table. Who's that?
And Space Lab, this is Marshal Ops. We imagine you've ignored the 17A error message.
True.
Yes, we don't want you to do anything on that. And Owen, we have one more change for that message 116. We have an EM timeline, Sierra Oscar 2, India 00.
That's the timeline for the CPAC CFO?
Yes, that's for the hot test configuration for CPAC.
And you also mentioned to me that you wanted the IU depot, I believe. Stand by here just a moment.
We want you to make sure and check that it is Oscar Papa.
That's right, thank you.
And Owen, that should be, correction, that should be an S0 to India 00.
Yeah, 02, India 00. With me, Bill?
Yes, we are, Owen.
Okay, so it's Sierra 02, India 00.
Sierra 02, India 00.
Yeah. Hey, Marshal, out to Space Lab, the TS2 here for the material science people, Mike Haynes.
I'm with you, Byron.
Okay, Michael's got it set up with backlighting and fluorescent light. I've got a 16mm camera set up with 400 ASA film and a zoom lens, and I'm afraid what I'm going to have to do is film it at 2 frames per second and just let it run, yeah.
That'll be absolutely fine.
Okay.
400mm zoom lens, I read.
Negative, it's a 45mm lens on a 16mm camera.
Okay, if it's possible to get the field of view as concentrated as possible.
That's affirmative. I've got just the way between the 4 ping pong balls and the syringe.
Okay, that's a wonderful job, Byron. Thank you very much, and I hope that you get some joy. Is it possible that I just have a word in your ear while you're doing that?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, the idea that we have in mind is to improvise an end plate for the FPM using the circular disc, which is on the top of the syringe which you're using now. And in order to do that, you'll need some means of fixing it to a 40mm front plate. Maybe you've got some double-sided tape that you can use and pierce a hole in the middle over the feed pipe. If you're able to do that, then there's a 30mm rear plate of John's 329 and 30mm plate, which you can use for a rear plate. You've then got 2 30mm discs, and you would stand a chance of growing a cylindrical zone. And if you can, then we'd be very interested if you can grow the longest possible cylindrical column.
Okay, but now you're... Okay, I understand. Actually, I can use your front plate with the reservoir. I don't understand that.
Yeah, you would have to use a 5 centistokes oil, I suppose. But the point is that that disc on the top of my syringe is undercut and might have a sharp enough edge to secure the edge of the meniscus.
Okay, but how do I get the fluid in there? That's the problem, Mike.
Oh, sorry, I thought that I misread you. I thought you said you had a reservoir.
Oh yeah, I do have a reservoir. I'm saying that if I use yours as a front plate, that's how I get the fluid from the reservoir through the hole in your syringe.
Okay, you need to get some double-sided sticky tape, and stick it, use it to stick the Perspex disc to the center of the 40mm disc, and then pierce a hole through the middle, using the screw hole in my disc as a new feed hole.
Oh, okay, very clever, now I understand.
Okay, I'm sure if you look at it, you'll see what we mean. And if you need it, I can give you a ratio of front plate to rear plate position in order to grow this 30mm cylindrical zone. You should use a rear plate.
No, that's okay. That's okay. The numbers are really trial and error here anymore, and it's easier just to look at it and watch what happens and adjust the speeds accordingly.
Okay, I agree. That's fine.
Marshal Ops from Space Lab. I've got the IU dep on. I did check that the dep was opt, and I'm not getting the dep ready.
We copy.
And thanks again, Byron, for your efforts, Mike Hayes.
Space Lab, this is Marshal Ops for Owen. We're going to enable a CPAC depot, and they have some questions for you concerning what you might see on display 02 Sierra. We understand you don't get that dep ready message, and we suspect it's a RAL communications problem.
Space Lab, this is CPAC for Owen. Ed?
First, Owen, are you seeing anything on your fault summary page? It looks like these GML-IO errors and then a dep initializing error.
Well, yes, we have 3 IO errors and a dep 14 error that occurred about 44 minutes, 49 seconds after. I'm not sure those, however, they might have come about the same time I wrote the task in the manual form.
Okay, what we'd like you to do is take a look at the O2S page, and let's, if you could lead us off with your temperatures, that'd be helpful. We don't have ECIO data down here.
What up? The data is missing on 02S.
Say again, Owen?
Data is missing, just Mike on the 02S page, over.
Raj, I don't think we know what that means.
Sorry, if we don't have any data, the letter M for Mike appears, and so we have no data that shows up on the 02 Sierra page, over.
We understand, thank you.
And Space Lab, this is Marshal Ops for Byron. Your go for sample change out and starting 321.
And Space Lab, be advised that missing data is because of the RAU problems we're having. We're scratching our heads, and hopefully we'll get back with you on the next pass.
Okay, I'll just have to, I'll probably toss out CPAC then and pick it up again on the next rev, because there's no way I can proceed without getting a RAL and some way to communicate.
Yeah, back out of the CPAC and go ahead and do the API, Owen, and we'll be back with you.
This is Marshall Space Lab Operations. It's 7 days, 5 hours, 51 minutes mission elapsed time. We have loss of signal through the tracking and data relay satellite with Space Lab. Anticipating reacquisition through the tracking and data relay satellite in approximately 41 minutes. And we here in the Payload Control Center anticipate reacquiring again, however, in the meantime, through the Guam ground tracking station in just under 21 minutes on Rev 118. During the last acquisition of signal, the Space Lab continued in the hot test
physics experiments mounted out on the pallet were in an attitude in which they could gather data. Most of their data scheduled to be gathered during the last few days of this mission, as the orbiter and space lab are in total sunlight. Also, inside the module, Myron Lichtenberg was busy with an experiment that was developed here in the Payload Control Center over the last couple of days. It's an improvised experiment developed by Dr. Mike Haynes, and it's one of the fluid physics experiments using some of the apparatus from the fluid physics module, but not the module itself. And this improvised experiment, a demonstration of how Space Lab can support real-time research activities where scientists on the ground can work directly with scientists on orbit in development of an experiment, and they can go right ahead and try it out. Also during this pass, Owen Garriott worked to attempt to do some temperature monitoring on two instruments mounted out on the pallet, the EPI low-light television camera and CPAC space experiments with particle accelerators instrumentation. Some difficulties in doing that as they were having some difficulties in communicating through RAL-21, the remote acquisition unit that interfaces between the command and data management system and also the experiment out on the pallet. This is Marshall Space Lab operations.
This is Mission Control Houston. Air to ground will be configured to pick up the flight deck conversation between Brewster Shaw and Cap and Capcom. Very clear here in the Mission Control Center. UHF only is available at Yargity. Acquisition of signal will be in 3 minutes. Duration that pass will be 6.5 minutes. And during the Teeter's pass, there was some difficulty getting good S-band lock, and the INCO here in the Mission Control Center just quite frankly can't figure out why there wasn't a good signal. Midway in that Teeter's pass, they switched to the Bermuda ground station, and got a good signal from Bermuda indicating that the orbiter systems were healthy. So presumably the problem is located in the antenna pointing at White Sands, and they're just going to carry that as a debriefing article to, or debriefing item to discuss upon the conclusion of the mission. We'll have ALS with the orbiter in 3 minutes at 7 days, 5 minutes, 55, 7 days, 5 hours, 55 minutes. Mission elapsed time. This is Mission Control Houston.
Columbia, this is Houston with you over Yargity for 6 minutes.
I'm Harry, loud and clear.
Go loud and clear too, Brewster. Got anything for us?
Oh, I was trying to ease the interchanger flow on wireless 2 down towards the 950 a little bit more, and sure enough, it takes off in the wrong direction. It's a real strange system.
Roger, we copy.
When we get good coverage again, and you can watch it, I think I'll try and ease it down there a little bit more. But it seems like when you activate it, it takes off in the wrong direction first, and then finally heads in the right direction. But I haven't reached that point yet on the second try.
Roger, and ECOM would like to take a look at that.
I bet he would. I'd like him to look at it.
And Columbia, Houston, we'll be calling you on air-to-ground 1 over Guam because we have something that you and the guys have actually listened to together on updating the MCU and the experimental computer. And that'll also be a good time if you wanted to set it up, ECOM will be ready to look at it. Guam, and that'd be 6 plus 12. That's our next task. Columbia, this is Houston. We're 30 seconds LOS. We'll see you over Guam at 6 plus 12, starting on air-to-ground 1.
Okay, Mary, see you 6 plus 12 on air-to-ground 1.
This is Mission Control Houston. We've lost signal through Yargany. We'll reacquire in 7 minutes through Guam, at which time the mission audio will carry the air-to-ground 1 transmissions, which is going to include an advisory from the Mission Control Center to both the Space Lab and Columbia crews. Mission elapsed time 7 days, 6 hours, 5 minutes. This is Mission Control Houston.
This is Marshall Space Lab Operations, 7 days, 6 hours, 12 minutes mission elapsed time. Standing by now for reacquisition of signal through the Guam Ground Tracking Station. That pass about 4 minutes in length. Orbiter now on the ascending node, orbit 118.
Over Guam.
Space Lab is with you, Mary. See you here.
Okay, we have just one little note on the experimental computer time switch. You were briefed on the MTU fix that appears in the cap, and we just wanted to let you know that we're going to start working that here over Guam, so you will probably get some messages as the ECOS switches to the real-time clock. You'll get an MTU RTC change 00 message here over this Guam pass. Then when the ECOS switches to the MTU, and we'll do that over TDRS on Rev 119, you'll get an MTU RTC change 01 message.
Yeah, I understand you'll get a couple of messages, Mary.
Okay, and we're just going to put the computer on internal time till we go through the rollover, and we'll do everything from the ground, so it's no impact on you. And we'll go over to UHF now.
Okay.
And Space Lab, this is Marshall Ops.
Bill?
Yes, we've got a tape change out in your PCAP scheduled for 7:10 of 101. Just disregard, do not change out the tape.
Bill?
And I think that you got the message on 33. We do not want to stow it, and that was scheduled at 7 plus 20. That's for this shift.
They do not stow 33.
That's right, do not stow 33, and you have a go to extend the operations on 102 FO2 Alpha until 7:45 or thereabouts.
Hey, we may not be ready to get it started here. Byron's still working away on ping pong balls. I've finished the work and ready to talk to the feedback people.
Okay, and we have the material sciences people that would like to talk to you. Also, they need a quick status.
Hey, the status is we've devised a very ingenious method of getting the bubbles out of the syringe of Mike Haynes. I would fill a syringe up with as much fluid as I could with an air bubble in the middle as we found in Jan Weiberg's experiment, and then Owen would spin me about my long axis while I held the syringe pointing in towards me, and the air would go to the inside, which is towards the feeding hole of the syringe, and then I just slowly squeeze the air out. So we've been able to get a bubble-less syringe, and I'm in the middle of doing it. I'll form several lenses and back to the nodoid, so I'll continue on here for another half an hour or so, and then do the silicon crystal change-up.
Sounds ingenious, sir. And Owen, one quick question for you. Was the temperature number 12 on experiment 003 above 40 degrees Celsius?
Okay, number 12 reached plus 19 degrees, and so actually the telemetry uplink doesn't make very clear. If you read step number 4 literally, it doesn't make very good sense. But at any rate, number 12 reached plus 19 degrees, which I presume is satisfactory, and its red has been completed.
Okay, Roger, we copy and thank you, and CPAC is enabled. I guess we're going to go LOS, and we'll see you in about 20 minutes. And a quick message for Byron that he is a go for FO2A, and he will get some television coverage, which they're looking for in a little while. And also that the MHF sample change-out is high priority.